free.
You did that just as I pressed start.
Greetings and welcome, I am Joffrey, and today we're going to discuss the paradox form Tinto Talk thing.
Paradox form Tinto. Yep.
Oh, and an early access modding spotlight. Wow!
That's crazy. And that's
And I'm gonna yell at my girlfriend to get out of the room because she's coughing too much.
yeah, I'm so afraid. Yeah. I'm coughing too, though. It's okay. All right. So today, yes, we're discussing the modding of EU5. You missed that. You missed the flair. Oh,
Oh!
the modding.
I
Yes.
like TikTok.
So they're showing us modding tools and some mods that got early access. Yes. Dispel some rumors. Yes, EU5 is not technically the most moddable game ever made, yes, but we've seen so much stuff, and as they're saying, many of the systems were built with mods in mind. Things such as the situations and international organizations. Yes, those are such lovely systems that seem to be handmade to be very good for modding. Yes. Hello, Dude Line. Hello. So. PDX Tools, PDX Unlimiter, Arcanum, Minesweeper? Minesweeper.
You're too dumb for that game.
I think this is saying, though, that someone before the game came out modded it so that you can play Minesweeper in EU5.
Yeah, you can't because you're too dumb for Minesweeper.
Well, yeah, I couldn't, but, I mean, someone could.
I like Minesweeper.
Yeah.
That's all I got to play on my parents' computer. That's the only game they had.
Only game that would run.
That's true.
I gotta stop your EA thing from always popping up and complaining. Are you aware of that?
Sorry.
Yeah, you will be. Not as sorry as you're gonna be. For those of you that might notice Ambinar missing from the image above, we'd like to be transparent here. Some of our talented developers within the Ambinar team have ambitions of their own. For legal reasons, these ambitions did not permit them to receive full early access. With that being said, we'll still be supporting their work on modding EU5 and will continue to do so post-release. Oh, that's right. I think isn't it the case that that Ambinar, or at least it's Jay Bean, I think. Doesn't he plan to make his own game at some point? I think so. Jay's working for the developer of the Gilded Destiny, a Vic 3 clone. So he's working as a developer on something, that being, Gilded Destiny, which is it's a game, it's a game that people who don't like Vic 3 is making. Yes, clone is a very harsh way of describing that, but I have not seen it myself. I have heard of the game, but I've not looked into it myself. So I would not know for sure. Right. Grab that back. Oops. All right. But that's curious. I wasn't expecting that. I was certain that Anbanar would be shown off here for those obvious reasons. That they are the EU4 mod. But in any case, it's probably wise that they did not then give him access as he is working for a competing company, so to speak. But they're being very respectful about it as well, which is always nice to see. But yes, go deeper into some other mods later, and So to best help with the following section, we've enlisted the generous help of mod author Stopia, who has been behind the scenes assisting with modding support. That's always good having modders, as they've always talked about the fact that they've had modders working on the game as well to try and make the game as mod friendly as possible, which is kind of funny because I feel there's going to be a situation here where those of us who have modded previous Paradox games will get to look at the people who are learning with EU5 and be like, you younglings don't know what it was like. Yes, when I walked to school, as my parent back when my parents walked to school, we had to climb over the cliffs and march through the dense forest full of vicious beasts and through 15 feet of snow. Yeah.
My dad didn't even say that he went to school. He said there was no school. He just got put in the field and good to work. That's what my dad would have said, at least.
Well,
He said he just popped out and was told to get to work.
That means he didn't have far to go to get to school then. You know, yeah. just go out to the fields. His school was the world, is how you'd say that. Yes, in a positive spin. Hey, I thought those were mine, huh?
That one's yours.
That one. Give me the first sip.
No! First sip.
Give me. Clementine Italian soda. Nom, 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 nom. Woman has never heard of coal mines. Yeah, we did. We don't. No. Trust me, she has. There's lots of former coal mines around these parts. Yeah. Everyone around here goes on a field trip to go walk around in a coal mine when they're in junior high.
I didn't get the field trip. My mom just put me in the car one day and was like, "We're going somewhere." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then she had pulled to this random mine, and it was like, "Where are we?" She's at the coal mines. Get in there.
Get in there. Lock. Just collapses it behind you. The reality of EU5 modding is in many ways similar to that of recent Paradox Grand Strategy games, Victoria, CK3, and Imperator Rome, as it also operates on the Yomini framework, which brings many modding conveniences over from those games. They're much, much, much more convenient than EU4. EU4 is horrendous to mod. But it has a lot less provinces to map, so that's nice. In this short introduction to EU5's modding, I'd like to share some of the syntax. Yes. So, how does modding work? This is just showing how you open up. Is this in the? Oh, to create a subfolder for your first mod, you need to navigate into the mods and DLC menu in the top right corner. Is this? I assume this is on the launcher, but I don't know, that background kind of makes it look like, maybe, I don't know. I would assume that it's just on the launcher, but this is a rather big image. So maybe this is actually in-game? I don't know. But anyway, point is that you actually... Yeah, okay, good. Oh, it's a sandbox. It's a sandcastle image. That's actually really cool. I like the sandcastle as the image for selected mods. I like that. Yeah. Sandbox icon. And how different is this? Yeah, you choose your tags. This is a little clunkier. Honestly, as weird as it sounds, this UI here is a lot more clunky than EU4 or CK3, any real Paradox game that I've looked at that has a create mod in their launcher. I don't know what's up with that, but the fact that there is this uploaded mods tab is helpful because that will make it a lot easier for you to click on this and see the list of things you've uploaded to the workshop and then adjust them accordingly, theoretically at least. But yes, John Universalis' Bizarre Adventure, of course. Do you already have any mods in mind to make? I yes, actually, I am the team lead of a mod team for. Yes, we're going to be making a total conversion fantasy mod for EU5. I've spoken with before, and I should talk to him more honestly. Jay Bean or Jay. Yeah, changes the last part of his name sometimes, but I should talk with him more. As he and I, we have different ideas of what we want fantasy, our own fantasy total conversion mods to be like, but we respect each other and wish us each other lots of success and all that sort of thing. So there's that. But also, before that gets properly started, post EU5's release, I have some ideas for some little stuff to sprinkle in here and there. Mainly stuff to do with the New World. I and there's another person on my Discord and who will be involved in my team that has some ideas for some funny alt history stuff where adjust some stuff here and there, and then it makes more of the New World actually playable tags in North America, like lots of the Pacific Northwest and stuff. And yes, playable Blackfoot. I want. You can give spoilers from dev responses, Max. No worries, no worries. Please do. If I ask a question like that, if I ask a question and I say, "Huh, I wonder if there's an answer to that," and they answer it in the responses, yes, I would appreciate knowing the answer. They said there's no launcher. EU5 does not have a launcher. Huh. I mean, that's a good thing because the Paradox launcher is absolute AIDS. So that's curious. Because that then sounds like you're just actually in game, and that explains why it's such a bulky UI here, because it can afford to take up the screen because you're actually in game. So in that case, you're probably in game, and you'll adjust all this from there. So you adjust what mods you have enabled or disabled from the game itself while it's running, and maybe it does like a little refresh. You click activate or something. Oh, apply. Yeah, new playset. You apply the changes, and then yep, exactly. The game reloads briefly to apply the mods. There we go. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I am immensely pleased with this. That's perfect. Like, it's anytime that you're launching the game with friends and you're preparing to do a game, and one person or however many people accidentally enable a submod or something. Just all they have to do is just disable it and then refresh real quick, and then you're good to go. You want to get past?
I can look past.
Go.
Okay. Well.
Do it.
Yeah.
Go
I
back.
will.
Go on.
I'm going. I'm going. I'm going. I'm going.
She's gone.
Fuck you. Bye.
Right. Oh, code. Oh dear. But also good. Okay. Actual code to look at. Alright. Gotta stretch real quick. Okay, let's see some of the things that can be done in terms of modeling. Let's pull the chair in and lean back a bit. Syntax for one of the most basic and widely used types of EU5 content, the famous event. Good. Okay. With some comments to explain what's going on. Perfect. Alright. It's all just here. This is beautiful. Alright. Flavored poll. Alright. There's the open bracket. Type country event. Okay. So you choose the type. Country will be fired on countries, and the country for which it fires will be considered root. Okay. So there are other types of events then that theoretically fire, but no one sees them or gets choices. It's just an event that exists in the ether, I guess. Um, but just curious. Usually, in like CK3, when you're doing like in previous Paradox games, okay, it's just a theory. If there is such a thing as a type of event that is not seen by someone, typically in CK3, mind you, I'm no expert. It may well be that I just didn't understand, but as far as I understand it, there's no such thing as a like an event that no one can see in CK3. So instead, what you would do is you would just do hidden effects. You would make an event that someone would see, and then have that event also have other effects that you would want to have happen from said event that people would not see, if that makes sense. But where do you choose? Okay, there's the tag. Yeah, yeah, the tag POL, of course, because yep, 3 letter tags. I kind of wish that tags were 4 letters, but such is the way of things. Title, flavor, description, historic info. Oh, yeah, title key, description key. This is where you determine what line of text it's looking for to tell it what the title and description will be. The historical info. Optional historical info key responsible for the historical information box. Dependent on triggers or randomized amongst the list of keys. Randomized. So you can have a random chance of it giving you different historical facts about it or something? So it's like on different playthroughs, you have like a roll the dice, like, fun fact! Historically, this is what happened. Almost makes me sad that for Keongal, we aren't going to be having canonical outcomes, so there's not going to be a whole lot of use for historical events or historical information and all that. In EU5, meantime to happen events do not exist, and all events need to be fired either by on actions, script, or by dynamic historical event clauses. Why not? Uh, wait. From this can event from. Oh. What? But they just say that mean time to happen. So it's just there is such a thing as making it trigger by a mean time to happen. It's just that um, there's a different way of going about it. It's the same effect, just different manner of making that code actually happen. Okay, so yes, tag Poland. Yes, it fires for Poland, and it can all yes, and there can only be the one tag. Okay, so this is how you just set up. That's going to be pretty convenient. I like that a lot. This is going to make it very easy for people to just set up. All right, it's an event. This is title and description and all that. This is who it fires for. It'll happen sometime in this range. Now, the curious thing here is that it's a... Oh, okay, yeah. You do monthly chance equals 10. So 10% chance every month between these. But does that mean that it can be missed? 10% chance every month. Does that mean that it could just not happen? From 1500? Uh, 1510 to 1510 from to I mean, technically there is a chance you could miss that, right? That's 10 years, 10% chance every month. It would be rather unlikely for it not to fire, but does that mean it theoretically could just be missed? Surely this means that it would just trigger on the last month possible. I assume that's what it means. That if it somehow misses every single potential chance, it will just fire on the last one. Distribution of power law. Only requirement for this is to have distribution of power law available. Okay. So if for some reason you don't have a distribution of power law. I don't know what would cause you to not have that available, but I guess the idea is that it's a dynamic. Oh no, is this the same event? The Satum, however you pronounce it, the oh no. Is the event where that fires where Poland's like nobles get the Liberium veto and they get to just decide that no law is passed? Angry 10. What? Illustration tags. Used for the pops in the event picture. Oh. So it's the so you choose I don't know why it's 10. 10 equals. I don't know why it's 10 equals, but I guess the idea is that they're setting it so that the character in the portrait is angry and the location is the interior, just background image. Options. Just one option? No, there's multiple options. Okay. So yeah, option A, this is very normal. Historical option, yes, you tag, which is the historical option, of course. Makes the AI with historical AI game rule. Always select that option. Yeah, that's always cool. I think that I, I'm curious if there's a way that with modding you could make. I want to find once the game is out. One thing, yeah, one thing I'm going to be very curious. Not initially, but eventually I'll want to look into this historical option and see if it's hard coded or if it's possible. It probably will be, but it would be really cool if it was possible to make a different trigger for, you get the historical option and then you have other options. So you can set different options to be different types, especially when it comes to a fantasy mod. Like my ambition for my own team's mod, uh, the idea is that there will be lots of choice. So theoretically, and just the whole premise of the mod is diversity of outcomes and lots of choice for the players. So theoretically, it would be nice to have the ability to make more of this sort of thing, where you get historical option equals yes. Make more of these things for different possibilities, so that you can have certain events that check for a certain trigger, and if you have a certain rule set on, then the AI will always do that option instead. But that's just a thought. Limited not. If limited. So you need to not have favor the nobles. No. If you don't have it, it gives you the policy favor the nobles. Okay. And set variable unlock. Nihil Novi. Set variable is the unified solution for the geometry, the country flag and rules. Okay. So this is something where you set this variable, and this is one of the things that checks for things like flags. Huh. Grant the state privilege or state privilege. But that's commented out, so that's not doing it. What? Grant the state privilege under. I guess favor the no DOP underscore favor the nobles is the state privilege nihil novi. I don't know. If this is a generic event, we could, for example, save a random privilege ahead of time and assign it with the scope target underscore privilege or the variable saved privilege instead. Grant a state privilege equals a state underscore privilege. Okay, that's how they do it. Yeah. So you get the policy favor the nobles, and then also yeah it grants privilege nihil novi. And then the second option, severe penalty to the nobles, if you choose the second option, and severe stability penalty. Okay. Values under state satisfaction, severe penalty, and stability severe penalty are scripted, they're defined outside the file, and are reusable and can be made to depend on dynamic factors. Yes, that's something that exists in a lot of other Paradox games as well, and I have mixed feelings about them, but they're a nice concept. Um, because it's kind of difficult as a player as a modder who is not like keenly aware of those what they do. Um, when I was new to modding, I never used them because I just didn't know how to even figure out what they meant, like numbers wise. It took me a long time to figure out how to search up this text and then figure out by searching that up what the number actually means. Because estate satisfaction severe penalty means a specific number of severe penalty, and as they say, it can be adjusted under certain circumstances. So it's a good system to use, but it's also a little tedious because you need to be aware of what it means. Right. A situation works under the hood. Let us consider a modded scenario using of utmost importance and historicity, the rise of Ulm. Oh my god. Crafting a new file called the Rise of Ulm in common situations. Dear God. Okay. So, Rise of Ulm. Unique situation and is imperative it appears as soon as possible. We shall assign it a value of monthly spawn chance 1, meaning 100. Oh my goodness. And you get the hint. Yeah, hint underscore Ulm. Yeah, because everything. Okay, I do like the hints. The hint system is pretty cool. And also, it's fun that there's like different characters that you can assign to give the hints. So I'm sure that when it comes to modding, it'll be fun to make a character and then give them the hints that they provide you. But yes, can start. Ulm needs to exist. C Ulm meaning country, I guess. Yeah, I think that's how that works in EU4 as well. Ulm existing and having land on the map is dangerous enough, and the situation ends as long as Ulm has. Does that mean that Ulm has? No, that either means that Ulm has only one tile or Ulm doesn't exist. So I don't know. And who should see this situation? So it's visible to anyone that knows Ulm exists. To prevent error for when the can end has been checked, yet Ulm already ceased to exist. Now we have a basic setup that allows us to go into the game and see the situation for ourselves, but all the text will appear unlocalized and barren, so let us give the Rise of Ulm a title and a fitting description before going in. The Rise of Ulm. Uh, honestly, honestly, this diary, this Tinto Talk Dev Diary thing, it's not bad at teaching people some of the basics of modding. I'm gonna be honest. This is showing a lot of the just basic stuff that needs to be known. There's not a whole lot more than this that someone would need to know to get started. I certainly got started with less than this. Yes, the world trembles as all prepares for world conquest. The mighty free city of Ulm. How do they? So where's the localization? Get country Ulm. Get long name. So yeah, that gets yeah yeah. Choose the name for yeah. Gets the name of Ulm. Gets its long name. So that means that it puts in here whatever the current long name of the the free city of Ulm is, as opposed to just calling it the short name, which would be Ulm. Yes, just reading this gives the shivers. The world trembles as the mighty free city of Ulm prepares it for its bid for world domination. The nations of Earth, too busy bickering among each other, will realize their tragic fate too little, too late to change the course of history. First, it will be Swabia, then South Germany, then Europe, and finally, the Earth. No one is truly safe. Yeah, and shift to view hint. Wow! However, as it stands, the situation does absolutely nothing. Just appears suddenly and and I get no notification of its existence. EU5, the most important situation, the rise of Ulm RCM. It's crazy. They're talking about how modding situations works. Uh, our destiny. What should happen when the situation starts? Yep. So it triggers an event for Alm. Okay, so Alm gets the event, the rise of Alm, our destiny. And then everyone that isn't Alm but knows Alm gets the event, the rise of Alm. And then there's a 10% chance that the country of Alm will get 10% chance every month that Alm will get or maybe one. Random list 1, 1, 10. I'm not sure how that actually works, but maybe they explain it. But the point is, there's a chance every month of the rise of Ulm number 5 or 6 triggering as well. And then when it ends, as long as the country of Ulm does not exist and the situation ends, every country gets gets a rise of Ulm crisis averted. Or if it ends because Ulm still exists and has conquered the world, they get conquest complete. I think the weights add together, so it is out of 12. Well, so it's 1, 1, 10. So what, like a 1 out of 12. 1 out of 12. Oh, yes, yes, I see what you mean. Yes, that's kind of what I'm figuring as well, because there's a 10. There's a 10 odds that nothing. So there's nothing in the brackets will happen there, and then a 1 and 1. Yeah. So it probably adds together as opposed to being, yeah. If they wanted to be a like 10%, 10% chance for each of those, they'd make it like 8 down here, I imagine. Spending some time working with someone to make the first scene for Erebor dropped in the image heap. Image. What has he been cooking? Oh. Wow. Wow. It's such a shame, though. Such a shame to have all those people in that image that you sent in the Discord fighting on in the Dale, the Dale between Dale, because that's why Dale is called that, because it's there's a Dale, this in the valley instead of in like the actual city itself.
Fucking look at me.
I'm looking at you.
Fucking look at me.
Look at you if I damn well please.
Fuck off.
Mr. Modder, is this what you hoped for? Well, hello, Lambert. Yes, it is what I hoped for. I'm so looking forward. I'm just overjoyed to be looking soon, TM, at all those lucky people that got access instead of me. Mind you, I had no reason to get access. Still, yeah, just they love me. What do you mean? Everyone loves me. I know I made a video called the Eu5 is problematic, and I was complaining about farmlands forever, but they still love me. But the actual stuff they're showing here, talking about the code and other such things, the rise of Ulm situation, it's actually, it's very goofy, of course, but it's actually very insightful stuff that I will definitely make use of. What are you doing?
I actually heard Papa call you bald.
You heard Pavia call me bald? Pavia addressed me?
Oh.
What?
warn me before you do that. I was sitting on your chair.
Oh, sorry.
I could have died. I'm so sorry. I don't want you to fall and die.
Don't do that, please.
Johan.
Johan, huh? I doubt it. Yeah, you're making this up to make me feel good about myself.
He's already has an inflated ego. Don't give him more.
Also, I am not bald enough right now. I've been feeling really just. I was feeling. I'm starting to feel better, but I was sick for a while, and I've not been shaving my head, so I'm not as bald as I should be. I have Chinese monkey. What? I don't know.
You have the Yang Chen cut.
I do kind of have Avatar Yang Chen's hair, just not long. Like if I just let my hair grow out from here, let it go down, yeah, I'd be Avatar Yang Chen. Give myself the arrow tattoo on the front of the head.
Yeah, forget. We're not doing Yang guitar. We're gonna do Katara and Yang Chen.
Yeah.
Even though they never met. Be funny.
Lex, what do you mean, Lex Arden? You were not the first to call me bald. Many have come before you. I was already the bald emperor of the Triple J server before you arrived. How is you, Lambert, though? You released. I haven't caught up to the most recent video you made, assuming you're still here. What was the other one that I just clicked on? Yeah, I've had it. I've had your yesterday video about Poland, Lithuania, Ruthenia, and all that pulled up on my other monitor, ready to watch that once this is done, because well, I didn't expect to see you here, so I didn't think I'd be able to ask you yourself what you thought about the Cossacks, because that was the big takeaway for me. I am very keen, personally. I really want to ask J Bean from Anbanar what he thinks about the Cossack estate, because I have big plans for it once they showed us how that works. A little stuck. There's a bug preventing my Papal game from uploading a second part to start as sponsored vids. No! No! A bug in YouTube? I got stuff I want to upload today, too. No, there can't be. Look. Huh. What? A bug in the game? Oh, okay, okay. Oh, so it's a bug that's stopping you from playing. Okay, oh, well, let's see how it is. Western Schism is a... Oh, yeah, situation's not working as intended. That's no surprise. Yes, that... You are still a guinea pig after all. You're a pre-release test jockey for them to make sure that stuff works. And your despair is their joy as you show them what they need to fix. And yeah, yes, RCM. Yeah, I can imagine that's the person who helped you make that scene is very talented, because those are some excellent shots from the Bannerlord mod. It's gonna be hard for me to not pick up Bannerlord again once that becomes a thing. Yes. Cossacks, they're just kind of there. Had them in your country, but never really done any much with them. You can give them a bit of money. It's your privileges to get a production effective boost. Okay. So from my perspective, yeah, to you, you'll see them, and it will be a case of like, yeah, they're just they're the Cossacks. They're just kind of there. They probably aren't the biggest thing. They look like they were a pretty recent addition. So I can imagine they're not the most impactful. But to me, as Mr. Modder, yes, the impact is less so, oh, look at the Cossacks themselves. I can't wait to play with them. But I mean, yes, I want to see how they play. That could be fun conceptually. It seems fun, but it's what I can do with that code, because the fact that there is an estate that is tied specifically to a culture, you get that estate if you have that culture in your country and other circumstances. You need to tick other boxes. That stuff is really cool. And that estate somehow theoretically has an opinion, they said in said dev diary, of certain countries based on actions. And there are multiple examples in my planned mod of Kiangol where that would exist. And one of them I will want to discuss in a video soon-ish, but I haven't had the time to upload these things. God damn it! Yes, there's a particular fantasy race of rock people who are very bureaucratically minded. Imagine in Anbanar you've got the what are they, the Tiger Men in Anbanar. Haramari, that's what they're called. The Haramari in Anbanar are a culture that is they're very, very much used in administrative positions, and when in most of the time when people see them, you picture them as being bureaucrats and stuff. It's it's similar to that in some ways, though this is only a specific branch of that race. It's just one of the cultures that are very embedded in the bureaucracy of the Europe continent. So lots of people will start the game out with privileges handed out to that estate, which some of them will be good privileges and some of them won't be, and people have to decide what to do about that. But before you arrived, I was just yapping about the code behind the Alm events, which currently it doesn't actually do anything, but distance to Alm. Complex trigger. Map mode colors. Divide value distance from Alm? Custom tool to imminent calamity. No way. There's a way that you... Oh! Because that's like the Black Death. How like whether a country is affected by the Black Death or not. Oh, that's how they, like when you've got a... Yeah. Because it highlights them in red. So you could do that for other situations too, or in this case, how close they are to Alm. That's so cool. Joffrey. Think about what types of dwarven buildings would work for the mod. What types of dwarven buildings? Yeah, that's a tough question. But I haven't thought about the artistic side of what the dwarves' buildings would be like, for example, in Kiangol. But it would definitely be nice to have some, because there's going to be a whole lot of dwarves in the version 1 and even the beta of the mod. So I know we've talked about it before, but gotta come up with some sort of design behind what they should look like. Have to know the person putting together this fake mod. The guys just having a blast. Yeah. This whole like imminent doom. Are they going to show imminent doom? Okay, yeah. Here we see in Finland or something. Yeah, Sweden. Yeah. Oh no, it is in Finland. Yeah. So in Finland, you get this tile that's distant from Ulm, and it says this location suffers from delusions of safety. Yeah, that's great. It's both an awesome way to showcase how modding works to people. It's both useful for me as someone who mods other Paradox games and to people who don't mod before. Honestly, it does look like this code is going to be much easier to understand. Low poly models, you can pump out about 15 buildings. Oh God. Oh dear. Well, I mean, I can't imagine that you could do such a thing from scratch. Something, but yeah, low poly models like that. I should probably in that case try and give you some ideas of what to to base it off of. However, um, before once EU5 is actually out, we'll actually have the we'll have those models that the base game already uses in our hands. So it's I'd be somewhat nervous. Like don't you think it's somewhat dangerous to spend too much effort on such a thing before the game is out? In case you somehow spend a lot of effort on something that can't be used. It's pretty much just a shell, no interior. You won't walk in them. Yeah, it's true. It's true. We're just talking low poly stuff that shows up on top of the map. Just don't know. We just don't know a lot about what causes, like how many buildings there exist, and how many buildings exist, what causes them to appear, that sort of thing. It might be that there's a lot needed, but god damn, it would probably be a lot of work to try and figure out how to even implement them once they are created. But yeah, that's the main thing is just the fact that we don't know a whole lot. So it's really cool idea that I am immeasurably appreciative of the fact that you continue to offer to help in that way. But I am somewhat scared to present you with a suggestion of what to make for such dwarven buildings when we don't know exactly what the dimensions and stuff will be. So most likely any work you would do on buildings would need to be adjusted a bunch. Image they're just like 2K building models. I'm not quite that bad, but yeah. All the folks who have had early access to the game and playing, and when we've seen images of the game, look at any old video from playing so far. Dwarven buildings are clearly just a subway entrance looking thing. Ah, yes. Yes. Of course. Subway entrance. I'll go look. I'll go look at let's scroll back and find Lambert's video actually. Now that he's here. We're talking about it. Where far am I gonna have to scroll back to find his I got early access to EU5 video? Because in that video, I got early access to EU5. In that video, there is a bunch of depends on dwarven strongholds are above ground and below. Yeah, realistically, the images just you just have like both. I mean, you'd use the same for both for the sake of simplicity. Look at Lambert making the most his face behind mine. Oh, his beautiful face he's making here. Look at all these buildings, for example. Yeah. You look like you've been tased here. But you look at these buildings, for example. You've got the castle, yes. We have the image of like what the castle looked like, but then there's all these other ones that are dotted around, and we don't know how many there are in total. And these aren't even like cities; these are rural locations. I think this is all like farm RGOs and stuff being leveled up, not even the actual like cities. We've seen like what Constantinople looks like, and that thing is sprawled as hell. If you cover Lambert's face, yeah, exactly. I'll cover Lambert's face with my own. And just like, look at me. I have early access to the game. Yes. How did you know? Just twirl my mustache a little bit. You can also scale them up and down. Oh, you can scale them? So there's a setting for how large the buildings appear? Very interesting. But I mean, if you wouldn't mind if you found like a larger settlement, um if there's a larger settlement in your game, like I imagine, yeah, Paris, Rome, Constantinople, places like that. If you could look at those and describe like how many distinctive buildings, I'm sure it gets a lot worse late game as well. There's probably all sorts of new models that get added over the course of the game. There's probably so many, but this is an example. I don't know if you hover over Constantinople at some point, because you get, of course, you play in like Florence, and this is zoomed out, so you're not. Oh yeah. Oh, please zoom in. I know, because it's Florence is so dense, but I don't think you really zoom in too much closer. But like, look at Italy. Look at how many of these buildings exist. It's crazy. Some of these building models, mind you, are like it's clearly like a model of like a few distinct districts. It'll be like a clump of buildings that's like the same model placed pasted next to each other. But UI looks kind of strange. What's so strange about the UI? I mean the colors. I like okay if you're saying like the colors are weird, for example, I actually really like the colors. Um, the something that I love about Civilization 6, for example, and I've talked about, I made a fucking YouTube video where I was just glazing EU5's UI because I looked at like Lambert's video, for example, here, and I was just talking about how much I love the color coding of all these different things. So many of these different things is like government stuff is the purple. You get the economy stuff that's the yellow goldy color, and then you get the construction, which is the red, and this stuff all lines up. So it's very readable. Doesn't remind you of other Paradox games? Yeah, it reminds me more of Civilization 6, which had the best UI of any Civ game. Uh, to determine a population with added built buildings. I imagine that population plays into it, but I wouldn't know. I think you zoom in during a battle. Oh, you probably do, yeah. You haven't declared a war yet at this point. There you declare war on Imola. This is when the whole I am so scared about this, by the way, the fact that you have like you can just raise your levies and jump on them because the AI doesn't raise levies fast enough. But yeah, I definitely remember there being a battle. Yeah, did you jump back on Florence and then zoom in? No. Well, a little bit closer here. Still not as close. But oh, that's right. You get like these little icons on the map here. We've seen this in other things as well, but like you get like marble showing up here. That's so cool that you get marble showing up there because it's a resource of the tile. Uh, UI reminds you of Imperator. I wonder why. Why did Johan why did Johan make it new? Look more like Imperator. That's so strange. Huh. Do you see the models again? Yeah. There's- yeah. Yeah. Jesus fucking Christ. It looks so good. But there's so many models, yeah. Be right fucking back. What? What? Uh, well, oh my gosh, Volterra there. You get so many of those buildings as well. A lot of them do look like they're the same. But like, yeah, that's the thing, RCM. Yeah, I'd be scared, dude. If you're talking about like wanting to make buildings for races in my mod, and you're like, oh yeah, low poly models I can like dish out this many per day. It's like, look at these things. Look at these fucking things. You gotta 30 peasant buildings. 30. Okay. As in like Okay. But this is like they're not all distinct. Like it's not like they're all distinctive buildings. Like like it's just like the different colors of roofs and all that for like the different tiers and stuff. It's like they're not all distinctive buildings. It's just like there's that many in a city, right? Right? Like if if someone, our RCM here was trying to make if he was making some buildings, then just make different versions of those. Yeah, that's not that many, right? Help. What are the slums you see? I don't see slums. I mean, it's like there's because like I mean, hopefully you're not talking about like the marble there, for example. It's like 5 or 8 unique models for the peasant buildings. Oh, jeez. Whoo! Oh goodness, 5 or 6. Yeah, orange ones. Yeah. I mean, 30. If it was 30 like unique ones for each estate, that would be wild. But yeah, even and so the bottom looks like tents. Those are just peasant huts. Those things you're talking about. Yeah, those slums. Those are just peasant huts. So early game, low class buildings. Yeah. Each race, you mean? Yeah. Hey. So RCM. Uh, I don't think maybe Lambert showed it. I don't. Someone showed it. I don't think you showed it in this video. Maybe you showed it in a different one. But someone was showing a video. They were showing footage of Anatolia, and Anatolia was an excellent example of showing how like different cultures mix because there's like 5 different global building sets and UI sets, and the idea is like those are tied to cultures and like different geographical regions, all that. So showing like the Europeans and then like Middle Eastern buildings mixing, and because it's purely based on the culture of those pops, right? Orange roof, but yeah, orange roof is burgers. Oh, you showed in like Spain. Oh no! Goddamn ad! My alt account's the one that I have YouTube Premium on. Oh, there you go to. Oh, very zoomed into Constantinople. Look at this. uh... Constantinople looks very different from that now. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. See. But yeah, Nuru, the whole idea, yeah, making use of cultures mixing. If like, because our RCM is someone who's gonna, yeah, he's gonna be working for. I say working. He'll be participating in my mod project, making 3D assets, and one of the things that yeah, he'd like to try making some buildings, and the idea is we'd really like to have different models for the non-human races. And if that ends up happening, it would be fantastic because there are some places where you will have tons of those different races mixed together, and so you'd be able to see the sprawl of the different races' unique building types, um, all clustered in the south more and much more compact. Uh, unique building model. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. If DLC, yeah, as you're saying, yeah, the first DLC comes out, Lambert. When is this video? This is an older video. Yeah, this is from 5 months ago. But there's so much to analyze for this. I spent so long talking about this video. This video isn't even what the main point of the this podcast today is about. But Lambert showed up and we were talking about modding because that was the main point. And one of the things that was discussed was buildings and how the buildings show up and all that. So, grape vineyards. Oh, I bet olives because they look kind of green. I bet those are olives. Because I think no olives aren't a unique resource. Maybe it's just fruit orchards. And yeah, I don't know. The RGO. Yeah. RGO. Whatever the RGO is, probably fruit. They are an RGO? Damn. What the hell? Olives. Jeez. I mean, I know they took out dates. I'm just surprised they keep olives. Yeah. Would have thought they just put all of the fruits together. But that'll be interesting for when it comes to making modded, unique resources like that. Then, if there's not as much concern. Yeah. Byzantium was known for its olives. Well, yeah. I mean, the Greeks loved their olives. Huh. But yes. I'll just take a screenshot of that. Haggard screenshot of that for now. Well, Lambert's the one who's actually played the game. In regards to your question, Paco, does EU5 feel more like Imperator, EU4 Vicky, or something different? Because it looks to me like I imagine the game once you're familiar with it. We've heard people like playmakers say that once you've played the game long enough, it starts to feel more like EU4 again. But I imagine by the way it looks that it will play much more like a somewhere in between Europa Universalis and Victoria. Say we just work out how many races we have to start out with, and it's like 8 to 12 buildings per race. Yes, yes, RCM. I think that is most definitely the best approach. See what races exist and which races would need unique ones. Maybe all of them get them, but that depends. Some of them wouldn't necessarily have unique buildings. There's a couple races that realistically would have very similar buildings to humans. Um, but and yes, Lambert's saying you basically choose how you play the game. Generalist plays it like Victoria, with the huge focus on the economy, and Playmaker plays it like EU4. Yes. The something that was discussed in like the last stream. They've got the three styles. You've got your military. Every age you make your choice. Military, diplo, and admin, and they are respectively among my community referred to as the military is the playmaker style, diplo is the Joffrey play style, and admin is the generalist play style. Because I love diplomaxing, and everyone picks on me for it. I'm an Austria enjoyer. Can't imagine it'll play like EU4 since there's no mana. Well, there's this difference, you could play the game in similar ways with the gameplay loop. Just because the mana isn't there doesn't mean you won't do similar things. Mana is just a very simplistic, abstracted way of having similar things that what EU5 does. You have your counselors and other such things that you do to accomplish the same things that you would do with mana in a much more tangible, controllable way that feels much more natural. Yeah. Hmm Custom models, custom resources models. Yeah, yeah. As small the buildings are, you can get away with 2 or 3 probably. Try to give them all different footprints. Or yeah, the Oh yeah, RCM. Yeah, exactly. RCM. When it comes to that unique stuff for different races, yeah, it could probably um be only a couple unique ones per race, and keep a lot of the workshops and such the same. Keep it for the more generic, just like the culture, like for pops of the race, for like the estates, and then keep those in the roofs being colored and that sort of thing. But ideas are now unique advances. Yes, I imagine that you could dig out the Suez at some point. I mean, I don't know. I kind of doubt Lambert even knows the answer to that. With the no Suez, that's way out of scope. What do you mean? You can build the Suez in EU4. I think. You can build the Suez in... No, wait, you can build the Panama Canal in EU4. Right? You can build one of them. I swear. Huh. I swear you can build them. Yeah, yeah, okay, you can build them in EU4. I just never end up doing it, but... Well, if those canals are in EU4, then they'll at least at some point they'll be added to EU5. It's the same time span. Even if they're not in at launch, they'll be in eventually, I'm sure. I kind of hope that they exist at games, that they have that functionality, because I certainly want to, for my own purposes, make various sorts of make a building and then it creates a straight crossing, you know? So hopefully that code functionality at least exists at Game Start. Have some ideas for like windows, pillars, and beams. Do a couple of humanish models tomorrow. Ah, what are you talking about? RCM, what are you talking about? Pillars and beams and stuff? No. But oh no. Oh no. You're scaring me. Oh. I think there's passive. There's definitely buildings for conversion. When are you responding to with that, Harriman? Specifically about converting stuff for their missionaries. Do you need buildings? Oh, yeah, yeah. There's if you've played Crusader Kings, Haim Hamyensen Hamyensen Hamyenkan Hamyensan. If you played CK3, in Europa Universalis 5, you more or less have the council from CK3, except they can all do whatever you want them to do. So you have yeah, you more or less, yeah, you can use those cabinet members to tell them to do stuff like assimilate culture, convert religion, that sort of thing. And it also happens passively, but if you're not doing it actively, usually, supposedly from what I've heard, the conversion and assimilation rate does not happen fast enough in just passively to convert any notable locations. So, uh, hmm. The yeah, and Paco, in regards to the mission trees, yeah, the community is it's certainly a controversial thing among community members. I as Lambert and I have quite distinctive opinions on mission trees. Yeah. Um, Lambert, I believe, is very fond of mission trees, and both he and I are very fond of Anbanar's mission trees, for example. However, uh, I don't always want to play with mission trees, and I feel like they're quite limiting. I think that they limit the amount of freedom you feel when you play the game, as they steer you down a specific path, and I do like that sometimes. However, not always. Quite fond of Ambanar's mission trees. You're very glad they're in. Also glad that they're not used in the same way as EU4. Yes, yes, exactly, Lambert. Yeah. So we don't have extremely different opinions. Our thoughts on them are quite similar. And yeah, for me, it's just yeah, EU4, EU5 vanilla isn't really going to have mission trees. Anbanar definitely will make their mission trees in EU5, I'm almost certain. Because Jay and I talked about it, that sounded like what he was planning. And for myself, I don't intend to make mission trees the focus, and instead the content and the unique flavor will be based in the situations, dynamic events, and disasters, all that sort of thing. That's what I want the flavor to come from for my own mod, and I hope that it will become a situation where people will come to different mods for different things. Yes. Playing EU5 now, you do not play with mission trees. Um, yes, yes. Yes, it's very good that modders can make use of it. But as you say, you don't play with mission trees at the moment. But that's because the mission trees right now, I believe you told me before that the way that mission trees currently work in EU5, yeah, they're just tutorials, and they give you the bonuses at the end of them, and there's no real point to doing them once you know the game. And it just gives you a huge advantage of the AI that doesn't seem really fun once you've already done them. So it makes sense. They'll be very helpful for people learning the game, I think. So it's excellent that that's their functionality. though many people won't like that, and that's why they will play the mods, I'm sure. There is a point in doing them if you have few scruples. Exactly. Yes. Yes. You gotta cracked knuckles. All right. All right. Today we open up our game. It's with the insert mission tree, centralize the state or whatever. High centralization. Yeah. 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 I forgot. I forgot. That was one of the big rewards that they give you is huge progress towards societal values. Yes. And the speed of colonization, that's a very, okay, because that's an important question. I mean, Lambert's played with it, obviously, and I haven't touched it yet because I don't have the game. But colonization is tied to population. So places like Africa, the reason Africa is really hard to colonize in EU5 is not due to some, in Vicky 3 you've got just the malaria modifiers that make it slower. But in EU5 there's a very real thing that's tied to the game. So that stops you from being able to colonize it so quick. But yeah, as yeah, Lambert's saying, yeah, the coast of America is colonized. Yeah, people colonized in the 1600s pretty quick. But um, yeah. So yeah, no, the Rockies super far. But yeah, colonizing Africa, for example, is much more difficult because the population is much higher. So you would need to send in a lot more pops to actually colonize the region. And the problem with doing so is that those pops that already exist there are resistant to African diseases, but your European colonial pops are not going to be resistant to said diseases. So if you're playing as I think someone was playing as the Ottomans. I forget who it was, but someone was playing as the Ottomans and talking about trying to colonize Africa, and they could not successfully colonize Africa as the Ottomans for ages and eventually needed to cancel it because it was just a huge waste of money and pops because they kept sending people there, but they couldn't send enough to outpopulate the locals. And every time malaria would show up again, it would decimate their colonial populations, but and they just couldn't keep up. Their pops would just die off too fast. So it takes a lot of work to colonize it, which is very cool. Um, what do you think about mission trees, like the one's Third Odyssey? Yeah, yeah, exactly. And as Lambert is saying, I feel the same. As Lambert is saying with his, yeah, I like narrative mission trees for mods. When a mod like Third Odyssey and you get Anbanar's unique mission trees, those are always very fun. I love to play those. The only problem becomes when you play, and as you say with Third Odyssey, much less restrictive. That stuff is great. When you get more options, it's all about the choice. When mission trees exist and they have tons of different options for fun and yet interesting gameplay where you can take them down, that's really cool. England is a really good example of that. It's one of the very few examples where I think England's mission trees, I don't mind. But that's like the pinnacle. That's the sad thing. That's the pinnacle of EU5. And mods just don't really have that. Because when you have those narrative mods for, like, you get Third Odyssey, but that's like the whole point of the mod, is the mission tree. And for the, yeah, Exodus to the New World. So, of course, it's going to be dynamic with tons of options. But when you get stuff like, no, Anbanar, I love it to death. But if I'm playing as Moonhaven, I can't sit down as Moonhaven in the Empire of Anbanar and just decide, you know what, I'm Moonhaven, but I don't want to go colonize and go for tea and do all that stuff that the Moonhaven mission tree does. Instead, I want to conquer the Empire because that's just what your mission tree is. You don't have the other option. So if you do the other choice, then you just feel like you're playing the game wrong. So, wait, is disease resistance tied to culture? Like if a culture converts a place resistant to malaria, you conquer, does it lose malaria? No. Yeah, modifier per tag. Yeah, I think Lambert. I know you actually played the game, but I mean, there's only so much that you can pay attention to, so you won't notice everything. But from what I understand, it's either culture or tag specific that the resistance is tied to. Whichever one it is, I don't know. I assume it's culture, but maybe it's tag. And if it's tag, that's honestly for the best, because then it's less work for the code. But the point is that you're able to. There's also resistance per location. Sheesh. Yeah. Oh yes, the Black Death, for example, and the disease resistance per location. Like theoretically, yeah, one thing you, oh, but yeah, so like colonizing in Africa, for example, it's just ridiculous. Like I don't know how you would manage it because I haven't touched it, but you can't build like a hospital in a colony because you don't own the location. So how you just can't build the hospital there to make your pops more resistant to malaria and as a result, uh, stop them from dying off. Um, all right, see you, Paco. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for asking your questions too. It's always a blast having folks ask questions. Makes the stream more engaging and interesting. Ah, right. Um, any other questions? I think that's caught up to all the questions for the moment. I might actually be able to progress down this. Um, yes, lovely, lovely. Location suffers from delusions of safety. Oh. Oh, the question if they fix Muslim nations not being able to colonize due to alcohol. Oh, yeah, yeah. Is it Nuru? I don't. Did you hear someone say that that's a problem? Because I don't think that that is the problem. Okay, I think there's a disconnect where that was a problem. Oh, okay. Because from what yeah, earlier on, I thought they accounted for that because earlier on, when they were first showing colonization stuff, they were showing it from like a Muslim doing it, and like they were showing that a Muslim country was colonizing, and it was requiring like doing the exploration missions and stuff. It was requiring rum, and people were asking in the comments, why does it require rum? They're Muslims. They don't like that. That goes against their traditions, and then Johan, I think it was in the comments, was saying they may be Muslims, but a sailor's still a sailor, and so the idea is like, yeah, wine is not used in Muslim countries, but rum still is, in the or whatever the low quality alcohol that's used by soldiers and sailors was, which was like, okay, I could see that. That's there's some logic there. But if rum and whatnot is not able to be produced as well, that's a major oversight. Yes, and either they need to, they need to fix that either through actually allowing them to produce and trade the stuff, but with penalties or something, or giving them an alternative for their give them an alternative for the production for explorations and stuff. Could be fruit. Could be as simple as they need fruits or spices. Spices would be nasty, but I could see spices or fruit being an alternative. Though it would need to be quite a bit of fruit to make up for it. But like scurvy and stuff, I could see that. Give them a higher requirement of that instead. In the 5-month-old version, Muslims couldn't get access to rum, so they just couldn't hire explorers. That's cringe. That is cringe. It would be really cool if they had an alternative method. And honestly, I would love that because if they implement in the code, again, I'm such a fucking geek modder just looking at this and being like, if they make it so that Muslims have a different production method for explorers and colonists, then wouldn't that mean that I could then make unique requirements for colonization for different people? Perhaps some people can explore and colonize easier than others. Yes, maybe some require different resources. Yes, that could be fun. But hopefully they do fix that eventually because one of the first countries I'm considering playing is Morocco. No, Lambert asked last time he was on one of these streams with Joffrey, yes, what are you thinking about about playing? Yeah, what would I play in his MP? And I'm still thinking about what I play in your MP, and Morocco would be pretty high on my list because I've been thinking about Morocco. I love the vibe, and they've got some interesting content at Game Start. Andorra is the first playthrough. Andorra being a first playthrough is different from playing as Morocco in Lambert's multiplayer. These are different things. Yeah. Image on Discord from Malfornian. All right. What? Oh God! What is Kiev doing? Yeah, yeah. I don't. Yo, Andorra would live. Andorra would survive because no one wants to spend the effort to claim it. God damn it. The year 1634. What? Oh, the Aretinids are actually doing okay still. Based. Should I be showing this? Is this something like I don't under like is it should I even be seeing this? I don't know. It's fine to show? Okay. Like this okay, I was scared for a second. Oh, okay. This is good, this is good. I was spookered for a second there. But in that case, this shall be brought up. Oh, zoom in. But you have the based Kurdistan with its ugly borders here, yeah. Love me. I don't know what tag that is. I can't read that, but part of me hopes that's Genoa. That Italy. What even is that? What are these countries? What happened to Rome? Oh no! What? Why is Sardinia? Sardinia is like split with Tunis owning the south, I think. And then there's a bunch of Sardinian tags in the middle. Oh no. This is so beautifully disgusting. France is taking all of Barcelona as well. This is canonical. Unsure about Parliament. I am sure about Parliament. I am sure about Parliament. And my opinion about Parliament is that I think it's bad, but it's only bad because the AI doesn't comprehend using it for war. I think that the Parliament system is like it's good, but either the AI needs to just tough it out and declare more no CB wars, or there should be something done about the Parliament CB. Um, any computer can handle every location a tag. Oh. I mean, personally, I doubt that anyone realistically is going to be pulling that off for a long time. So, and there's the okay, better quality the actual post itself. Here are my release EU5 screenshots, borders of the Ottoman surrounding areas. Almost do change? I assume he means almost do not. Yeah, almost do change. I hope they fully do. This is a higher quality image supposedly, but I don't know if I. Oh, that is actually a little higher quality. Yeah, it is Genoa. Yes, yes, Genoese colonies all over. Yes, my beloved. And Venice is nowhere to be seen. Verona has killed them mostly. This is the best timeline. I love, I love them. Did Malthornian upload it to YouTube? No, yeah. Would yes, if only he had. Yes, if only he had leaked it. Would love more gameplay, but we'll get more gameplay soon enough. What? Malthornian videos. Yeah, okay. Watched a time lapse for EU5, and the Ottomans never expanded after they defeated the Byzantines and stayed the same for 600 years. So, yeah, I think that's the point of this post from him. Where, yeah, I think the point of this post, because he said almost do change after the end of the 14th century, I think that's him saying that they almost don't. I think that's, yeah, I think what he means by that is, yeah, that they basically don't. So, um, you'll go for the rest of the game, and like after the situation ends, the whole rise of the Turks. I think that's what he's getting at. That after that situation ends, they just don't do anything. Hmm. Jeez. I I hope. Oh, this is totally playing with the vassals don't get colored in map mode on. That's why France doesn't have their vassals colored in here. Andorra's still alive? Maybe Lambert's right. Maybe Lambert's right that Andorra will survive for a bit because they're not large enough to be worth the cost of a Parliament CV. They'll just sit there in the mountains of Aragon. Just not worth the CV. God damn it. Yeah, Andorra's still a thing, so I mean, yeah, maybe there's a reason for that. They're just not worth the cost of fighting them. Almost do would be worse. It would mean they never do. Maybe they did mean it. Maybe you're right. Maybe his post does mean that they almost change. As in they almost change, but they don't. Fuck. What, are you implying, Lambert, that livestock is not a valuable resource? Livestock is beautiful. You can use it for food and leather, I think. Jeez. Okay, okay. But they're in the mountains, so doesn't that mean you can make buildings to harvest stone anyway? You can make some harvest stone. Rather have sand. You're lying. You would not rather have sand than livestock. Livestock is beautiful. You'll feed everyone with glorious, high quality meats. Carve stone anywhere. Oh, oh. Andorra is good because it's defensive. It's a high up. Wait, it's Arctic, isn't it? I think it's fucking Arctic. Into maps. Iberia feedback. This is probably way too old. They may well have adjusted this since. But Andorra is totally Arctic, isn't it? 'Cause yeah, it is a livestock tile here. Oh, they're not showing the climate in this. They didn't change it. Alright, alright. Continental? Mountain continental forest. Well, I mean, forest. That you can get wood then. You've got perfect. You've got wood, stone, and livestock. What else could you ask for? I certainly couldn't ask for more. That's all you need to build a prospering society. Pops? Uh, get immigration. Get immigration from the other markets. Because I mean, you won't have your own market after all. So just get immigration from like the Aragonese, right? This is perfect. It is two art pieces. I don't know how important that is for immigration, but like I don't know. I guess just get more art. I don't know. Simply acquire more art and pops. One day I shall find the Andorran utopian strat. I will make Andorra a prosperous utopia in the mountains. Is an art just to make your culture less assimilatable. The cultural influence makes you more like your market attraction better and stuff. I imagine it increases pop attraction to your settlements as well. acquire more art, British style. Yeah, yeah. Just go and steal some art from, I don't know. Nah, honestly, I can't even joke about it that anymore. I fully anticipate that once Across the Pillars comes out and they add those landless holy orders, I fully anticipate those landless holy orders will be much more powerful than Andorra will be. You probably just need a couple commanderies, and then you'll have like an act. You just get a few commanderies. You'll have like an actual army, some small income. Andorra's gonna have nothing. I don't think England could even move the pyramids in EU4, so I don't think that you're going to be able to move the pyramids of Giza to London. But you know what you could move? You know what you could move? My favorite wonder, my favorite world wonder in EU4, Inukshuk. As a Canadian, the Inukshuk wonder gives me so many conniptions. In your Navarra game, the Pope took Macedonia. Macedonia? How? And how and why? What what type of war? Yeah, Alexa, beat you to it. Inukshuk, the best wonder in EU4. It's just Inukshuk at the top of the map. There's just an Inukshuk. It's really big, I guess, and you take it back with you. All that, and they couldn't even give us a playable Inuit tag. It's very sad. Hint field editor, yeah. Rise of Ulm. Alright. Let's move on past that now. Yeah, move on past the blocks of text, but, oh. End requirements. Situation expandable block of right. Oh, end requirements. That's all text. Oh, weird. God damn it, hiccups. Why can't I just stop hiccuping? Smyrna. What? So you're basically, yeah, you're just describing the Pope. Chios, Lesbos, Lemnos, and Smyrna. That's basically them just trying to do the Latin Empire, but Pope. I mean, I'm all here for it. I'll definitely want to play as the Pope and do such a thing. So I imagine the Pope's going to actually be pretty darn strong, all things considered. They finally added a very hard achievement. Oh, that's right. They rank achievements by difficulty, don't they? Yeah. What's the difficulty then? Yeah, or what's this difficult achievement they added then? Yeah. Press right for home claims. Allow always. Yeah. Ah. You know you're allowed to, but you 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 know you're allowed to, but not sure if you should say because the dev diary next week. God damn it. Harumph. Grr. Grr. A lot of restraint. We'll take the easiest achievement. Yes. Yes. What's the easiest achievement in the game then? Give us that. Yeah. Select trigger. Get a royal marriage. Oh, of course. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Form an alliance, a royal marriage stuff. Yeah. Yeah. He got us on that one. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's. Let me thinking that what else can you do to go over it all would be impossible. So much this image would good for thought. This yeah, is this image the last thing before they show? Okay. Take a glance at these files and then move on to talking about the mods that they've got that got early access. Oh yeah, I'm not surprised that getting a yeah, I'm not surprised at all that that's an achievement. It's one in CK3, so gods folder. Yeah. Where's the gods folder? You have yeah, government types, government reforms, goods demand category, goods demand, goods, gods. Hegemons. So theoretically, you can define new types of hegemons. I this is going to be so easy to mess around with. Oh my gosh. Holy sites and holy site types. Air selections. Where was one? Where's one? Goods demand. This is something I really am curious about. I want to see. Also, persistent DNA is interesting, but goods demand and goods demand category. That's something I'm very curious about because that's something where theoretically you'll be able to adjust what pops demand certain things. So that's what you'd mess around with, I imagine, for making custom resources and wanting to assign what pops actually want them. Define 10 plus hegemons so the player gets like minus 200 opinion for holding them all. Well, I mean, for my mod, Kiangol is probably going to need two new hegemons that I can think of. The two hegemons I can think of would be magical hegemon. There would be one for the magical hegemon and the um, perhaps there'd be the alternate. There should be an alternative as well. Yeah, it would have to be the magic hegemon and the mundane hegemon, so that you would have a hegemon for people that are doing a magic focused build for their country, and then the alternative for industry. So basically, it's basically magic versus industrial hegemon, but mundane because alliteration. Who doesn't love alliteration? Magic and mundane. Death reason. Death reason. That's another amazing thing from CK3. Yeah, there's death reason folder. Yep. Have to add new death reasons, of course, of course. Child educations, climates. Yeah. All right. I'm so looking forward to making unique climates too. There's gonna be like three unique climates I want to add to the underground. Like all of the underground stuff in Kiangol is going to have um it's all none of it's going to be surface climate is my plan. I just don't know what's all going to be involved in these in like what all climate affects, and there might be a lot of stuff that climate affects that would make me hesitant to do that. But the plan long term is that underground stuff will have completely separate climates, as in there would be hot, normal, and cold, just hot, temperate, and cold underground climates, and that would be purely based on distance from underground heat sources. So volcanoes. What places underground that are near-ish to volcanoes would be the hot climates, and then there'd be the temperate, and then there'd be cold ones, and perhaps wet would be the fourth one I would add if there was going to be one. This Tinto inspired me to revive an old modding project that originally began for Hearts of Iron and then Age of History 3 before shelving it. Yeah. Yes. As Eric, yes, as you're saying, yeah, different levels of humidity. Um, theoretically, that also would be the case. Which is why, um, at the end of the day, the different levels of humidity and stuff. That's why at the end of the day, underground areas might just have you can add anything you want to climate. I imagine so. But Lambert, the main reason I bring it up is there's things like events and the storms and stuff. You know, those natural disasters and other such things. All those kinds of things. There comes a time when a modder needs to look at that sort of code and decide, is this task worth the cost? Because when you make, for example, a new climate here, if I was to make climate, even just underground climate as a baseline, it's just the same everywhere. Or, well, okay. One thing we're thinking about doing is literally worse Arctic for a certain part of the surface. It would just be worse, even worse than Arctic. Um, but and that would be simple enough. Any events and stuff, you would just say any events that are tied to cold areas. You also would tie them to the worst winter one. Maybe make a couple even worse ones. But that can be tricky if you're making like Antarctic. Yes, yes. I mean that's basically the idea. It's because our map basically essentially think of it like if the North Pole existed on EU4's map, but it was playable, and some people were able to actually make good use of that land. So the idea is that there would potentially be a worse version of Arctic that is just at the top of the map, and some people actually are able to make good use of it. I don't know. Aelnar and Vic 3? Aelnar and Vic 3 doesn't have any unique bonuses for the Arctic yet. They're still trash. They don't even have the content out for Aelnar to be able to make that land into their homeland. And the modding team for Vic 3 in Anbenar is still debating whether or not they're keeping Aelnar. That's because Vic 3 trash. Oh, shush. Your Vic 3 hatred is despicable. But at the same time, I can't imagine I'm going to be playing much Vic 3 once EU5 is out, so I can't really talk. If I was in your shoes, I wouldn't play it much either. But, yes. Pop types. Pop types are also going to be moddable then. That's excellent. I definitely intend to be doing some of that. Vegetation, good. We already knew about that, though. Yeah. Unit abilities. What does unit abilities mean? Your hatred makes me powerful. So Anbenar, fun thing. I heard they're considering, after doing the original 1444 Anbenar, also doing a 1337 submod. I would not be surprised at all. Yes. It is something that I know that the lead of the mod was talking about the fact that he's really sad that it only really works for like their main mod to do the 1444 because they built it for EU4. 1337 just isn't an appropriate time for an epic grand strategy game on the scale. So but yeah, so I can imagine there would be a submod. Maybe the submod would adjust some of the lore to make it more playable as well. Um, a barbarian class, yes. 1836 submod though. 1836. Ah, interesting. Lambert really does just want, yes, EU5 Anbenar to replace Vic, yes. I honestly can't disagree with you too much there, though. I'm sure that EU5 has the tools necessary for a mod to make a start date in that time period. Yeah, want to experience a time period without the dog-ass game, yeah? Wonder how people will code tanks, planes, and such into EU5. I don't know. I don't know how feasible it would be to do that sort of thing. Because you can't. Well, there are unit underscore types and unit categories here. So maybe there's a possibility it could work. Uh, bookmarks are currently impossible to mod into EU5? Oh. I thought that category cav type heavy cav. Well, okay. Thanks, Lambert. Thanks, Lambert, for explaining that. Category is cav. So unit category exists. That theoretically means it's possible to make a separate unit category. You see, I was originally suspecting that there'd be no way to make a like to mod in a new unit category. So when it comes to mages, I was expecting to need to just be like, mages, they're just a type of cannon. I fully was expecting to have to make mages just a unique type of cannon. Archers and footmen are infantry. That makes sense, yeah. Um, so theoretically, I could make. Oh, okay, yeah, advances and general traits that affect infantry, and so that would be, yeah, archers, footmen, pikes, and all that. Yeah. Then your front line of just guns eventually, and that's all still infantry affecting stuff. That makes sense. Yeah. Um, in that case, yeah, there's a lot of ways that you could potentially do it. It would come down to, when it comes to magic, then a question of, do you make theoretically airplane category? Yeah, because you need to make an airplane category and then subdivide it into different types of planes. And when it comes to mages, I would, it would theoretically, you'd split it up into, you'd have the mage category, and then you have mage mages of different types, like spell swords maybe, but that also could just be infantry. I don't know. It's tough. That would be something to debate with my team. And other folks, I imagine. But yeah, theoretically, you could make an airplane category. I guess a tank would be cavalry. You could make it a cavalry class unit. I'm certain Anne Bernard will find a way. As for myself, the steampunk and Magitech shenanigans won't be added to the mod for a very long time, so there won't be the need to worry about magic stuff and other categories beyond the basic, just new unit mage. It's a lot harder. Yeah, you would just, yeah, when it comes to planes, if you were making a unique type of thing and it was just a planes type, they would literally need to just be a normal unit that moves around with your army. So, yeah, God forbid you try to make a model for it. Ugh. But oh yeah, international organizations, land ownership rules, payments, special statuses. Perfect, perfect. Yeah. Right. Biases. Yeah. Tutorial lessons. Road types. Yes. Yes. Okay. So road types. One, there's plans. We've got plans to make a difference between, like, you've got trains late game, but then also a magic version of road late game as well. Hmm. Above pictures in the in-game common folder, there's also a main menu common folder with the following: achievements, coat of arms, flag definitions. Main menu? Why is there a main menu? Game concept, game rules. Huh. Named colors. Yeah, I don't like the named colors, but okay. Coat of arms is going to be good though. That's going to be crucial. I want to see coat of arms, flag definitions. Those are going to be crucial for understanding how to actually make flags. I think you're getting, yeah, a little too ambitious for what's going to be feasible, yeah, with that. Hmm. core features that database entry. Yeah, that's yeah. All right. Let's get on to actually looking at the other mods. The stream's been going on for a very long time. Time to actually talk about some of these mods that got early access. Unlike little old bald man, Joffrey. Too ambitious. Oh, you're right. You're right. The tagline for the game is "Be ambitious." After all, how could you be too ambitious? Hmm. Hello, I am Quitier. Yes, the extended timeline mod on the horizon. So the past 2,000 years from the Roman era, but so one of you who was saying it. Yeah, Nuru was saying that you know that you can't mod bookmarks in. So how on earth would this extended timeline mod work? How does the extended timeline mod work? Does that mean it has to just go to the furthest back timeline possible? Faced with many challenges to overcome. One of the core features of extended timeline is any start date and play for as long as you want. EU5 does not allow free start date selection like EU4 did. To solve this, rather than making a large number of separate start dates, we have a single database and a script that can create a start setup. Jesus Christ! That's wild. They don't have so since there's a startup script that you tell it what. Wow. You, single database and a script that can compute a start setup from any number of days. So somewhere, either in their files, either in their mod files, or like when you start up the game or something, you click something that causes it to choose the start date. And yes, Antebellum is what I would. I don't think there's Antebellum, but that's top of my list of like vanilla plus and alt history and stuff mods I'd want. Yeah. Yeah. First version of our script already finished. We can present to you a first look at the extended timeline. So, yeah, there's a big Rome, and you've got yeah, the Parthians, the Kushan kingdom. Nice. Alania, Sarmatians, the Dacians. There's all the Germanic tribes. Iazgia. Everyone loves the Iazgians from playing, yes, Attila Total War, yeah? Everyone loves that. Might have to postpone your bank run, probably playing extended timeline first. Oh, goodness. Yeah, imagine if there's a bank. Wouldn't it be funny if there's a playable bank or something in this start date? The Gog Turks, nice. Physics and timeline all depends on their tech system. Indeed, they would. They. I think that one of the core things that would be required for me to actually want to dip my toes into it would be if their age system actually works properly. Um, I would be scared until they fix that to work with their start dates because they need to make so many different ages and the text and stuff. I'd be very concerned about it, but I have faith. They're a very passionate team. Visigoths, Franks. Ah, yes, the Vasconia's on the map. The Frisians too, actually. The Frisians are the sleeper hit. Plays Pictland. I'd play as Pictland. If it's balanced too, because there's so many start dates with a lot of rise and fall of nations, EU4 doesn't have any rise and fall mechanics. I mean, there is in regards to like rise and fall stuff, there is like the decline of empire dynamic event, which could theoretically cause things like the Byzantines and the Iranian Empire here to have some such collapses, but I'm not confident. And here you have later. Yeah. Can't read what it says. Something Kingdom of Great Britain. If that says Tribal Kingdom of Great Britain, I will laugh so hard. Real question is if they will have the Great Vermont Republic. What the fact that Vermont was a formable tag because of that, and it's so strong in EU4 is just crazy. Imperial German tribes. Yeah, it is all empire tribal empires. Why? An empire tier tribal nation is hilarious to me. I can't wait to make that happen. Imperial German tribes. Yeah, yeah, that's a wild thing to see on here. I don't think that that's the reason. I don't think it's because it's a placeholder for government type. Oh, you mean a placeholder government type action? Oh, wait, I misunderstood what you were saying. Yeah, yeah, I imagine that it's a placeholder government type that they're just throwing in with a lot of people at start. Tribal Empire of Scandinavia all the time in CK3. It's not that crazy. Yeah, I mean it didn't happen historically though. Imperium Universalis. So this is their scope. Include more of the old world than previously depicted, though the new world won't be present just like in EU4. Pictured below is the extent of the map. Area in red being playable. So a lot of Africa actually being playable this time around. All the way up to Japan. Oh, yeah, dynasty trees. Um, this is something I'm scared. Yeah, I'm not going to be touching dynasty trees in my mod for a long fucking time. I guess, yeah, yeah. Um, that's crazy, yo. Yeah. Ah, you're right. This map is going to be smaller in scope than CK3 in like 6 days. Europa expanded. So Europa expanded is I don't know what Europa expanded is. It's a vanilla, yeah, vanilla plus mod. Okay, more of the same format. So they're just adjusting mechanics. Okay, yeah, their own fork of the game is the idea. Okay, they're just adjusting. It's all just vanilla plus. Yeah. Reconquista. Many new systems. So on one hand, brand new situation, the Reconquista. The Reconquista is our answer to the question of how to promote the historical conflict between Castile and Granada, promote the latter's survival, as well as to introduce flavor for the eponymous Reconquista. Unlike other situations, the Reconquista is a situation that will exist from the game's start, having technically been in effect for several centuries. And yeah, there is a start date. They list start date way earlier than game start. That's cool. Request Genoese loan, appeal to the Caliph, and call upon volunteers of the faith. Interesting. I do like that. So, the Grenadans can request a loan from Genoa, appeal to the Caliph, or call upon, yeah, volunteers. I do like this. And then form Al-Andalus, which is a tier 3, yeah. I like this a lot. That's really cool. Yeah, the leader portraits have gotten honestly pretty nice. I am a big fan of them. The more we've seen of them. Uh, I can't wait until we have to attempt to try fitting the goddamn uh lobster model, the lobster man model. That's a our CM has been working on for our mod. Do you imagine a CK3 to EU5 converted that turned the Iberian struggle into a situation? I'm sure it would do that, honestly. That would make sense, yeah. Hey, everyone loves lobsters. Potato. Yes, lobster. the theory behind the lobster dudes is that we're making them um an armor. It's basically we're making them clothes, so we're not making them like a skin model and stuff. We're instead making them like uh armor, quote unquote, which is just their face and skin and stuff, their shell and all that. And so like the whole race just looks exactly the same, just with colors differentiating different ones. No lobster war in EU5. There will be lobster war in my mod. I promise you that. Lobster war is coming. Lobster war is coming. The poor Celtic islanders are going to need to defend themselves from the lobsters and even worse, the Germans. Terrifying thought. Situation is, of course, yeah, very, very work in progress. Oh, peace phase. This is so it is the thing from CK3. Lobster War, the situation. Yeah. You just look at the list of active situations. It's clicked on one and click on one and it says Lobster War. The European Union and the United Nations as international institutions would be awesome. Dude, at that point, you're just making bigger HRE. Though realistically, yeah, that's something that I guess would happen in timeline extension. You go like most recent start date in a timeline extended mod, and then you get the EU International Organization. Hope Castile doesn't suffer the same fate as Mayo, that Seville is just better as a capital. Um, okay. So Gamal, Sevilla is probably going to be really, really, really good, but I suspect that due to how landlocked, I say landlocked, Castile is such a big country with so much land. It's got a lot of coast too. But even if you unite all of Iberia, I figure Madrid would still be the best place for an Iberian capital because that's where you propagate control from to the rest of the land. EU4 extended timeline has the EU, but it's janked up mess that's impossible to understand. Oh no. Oh no. Plethora of events. Nice, nice. Conflict looming. Cabinet flavor update. 30 new events about the EU5 cabinet system, new government reforms, and new cabinet actions relating to it. Radical reforms. Enact radical reform character interaction will be unlocked, allowing us to change a policy for the cost of 10 stability. However, the only policies that can be picked must be preferred by the estate. Eh, I guess. It's kind of weird. Autonomous councils for the administrative system. Hmm. Oh, you're right. You get a need for radical reforms and then grant him the power. I well, actually, this you get the grant him the power he needs, but it doesn't actually do anything. It just enables you to do something. So that's not the worst, I guess. I would just prefer there being the option to say no. Autonomous councils. Legislative efficiency is good. Legislative efficiency is supposedly going to be really nice. So, yeah, but it makes you decentralized. So, Dutch revolt being a thing, United Provinces. Hmm. Dutch overlord victory or Dutch victory? Unrest, revolt, and interwar phase. Though the United Provinces may achieve independence in practicality, the conflict would still not be resolved until both sides agree to a peaceful resolution, or until one side has completely crushed the other. This phase intends for both sides to try and sow discontent and instigate unrest in the other's holdings.
All right, so it still keeps going, really?
If the United Provinces or just the Low Countries in general defeats them, but like doesn't throw them out, I guess. I don't know what like completely
How would
defeats
that
the other
mean?
means. I guess it means you make like a
Hmm.
piece that isn't 100%. You don't like do a peace option that is fuck off. You know,
So, like, let's say you became independent, but Spain still owned tiles, and it would not
I
be fully settled.
yeah, I don't think that I okay, okay. I'm willing to bet that there's a way where you mm, it might be that like if Spain owns land or whoever your overlord is owns land in the Low Countries, then it'll still happen. But I
That's what
also
I'm thinking
suspect
about. Yeah,
um,
because I assume there are ways for you to become independent, but not get every county you wanted. Hmm.
mm,
Also, the way it says Low Countries, that means
oh
that it's like the full Netherlands, including like Belgium and Luxembourg, right?
oh no, the United Provinces is an IO. Oh no, they revolt and then they become an IO.
Wait, why would there be an I? Isn't it one tag? Why would it be an IO?
It's not a tag, it's an IO of different Dutch provinces. Oh
So you're
no.
gonna have to actually form the Dutch. You're gonna have to actually like go
Yeah.
around and be like, "Hey, listen, I'm William of Orange. You better listen to me." Okay.
Yeah, you need to try and get supporters. There's candidates for unification.
Oh wait, this is actually they took the victory unification play. Okay.
More or less, they found candidates for unification play. There's like they take the special status thing that you've got where international organizations get special statuses, and that like the Il gets quote unquote candidates. They're not called candidates, but they're claimants. Yeah, they're called
I get the
claimants.
idea. Yeah.
So here you get your candidates, whatever you need to do to become a candidate. Yeah, and then they get people that support them, and get
Huh.
lots of people supporting Count
Which
Guillaume
I,
III as opposed to the bishop.
I assume that means then that it can fragment the same way that the Ilkhanate fragmented, which is probably what Spain would
Probably.
want to do after if the Netherlands defeat them in an independence war.
It does say that during the interwar period, Spain is trying to sow disunity among the United
Yeah, and
Provinces.
I assume that's what that means.
6 years of DLC later, EU5 France will be an IO of standard vassals. Yes, it's true. I mean, it took
See, I will. The
it.
thing is, I feel the same way about U5 that I do about CK3. Where I remember playing CK2 for like over 1,000 hours, and I go to CK3, and it just destroyed my brain that there was a game where you actually had India without being paying to play it. Well, I can only
I
imagine
could
what
just
kinds of
play
crazy
this.
things they'll do in EU5.
Every country in IO is the goal. Now listen, Nathaniel, it took like 5 different members of my mod team all telling me that I'm being a dumbass when I was saying like I because I'm okay. We agreed that there was a certain dwarf tag that should basically be the equivalent of France in power and have lots of vassals. And I took that and was like, all right, so guys, let's make this a IO, and it's an IO that like all the dudes pay money to the leader of the IO, but like they're not actually vassals, so they can fight each other and stuff. And then people are like, "No, Joffrey, no, no, no,
It's one of
no."
the things that does slightly annoy me about CK3, where not CK3, sorry, I meant Vic 3, where they'll take one mechanic and just put it everywhere, even where it doesn't make sense.
Like what?
Like for example, you have your buildings where how do you explain this? They take your companies, right? But then they don't. They even though the companies are really cool in themselves, I feel like they try to put companies in everything. Like what is it? like even when you become independent, there was a bug for a while where your buildings didn't get nationalized, so they'd still own everything in your country.
Like if you are playing as a company and you become independent as like the
No, no,
BIC,
no. I mean, like if you're playing the country, like if you're playing the like,
DIC.
I guess the EIC is a good example, but the idea is that you're playing somewhere, a place where you don't own your own buildings and it's owned by someone else. But when you become like if you're a colony and the
Yeah.
homeland is the one building everything in you, but you become independent, and they fixed it now. But it used to be that they would still keep all the buildings and you have to launch a separate war. Or like
Into
with
the
Infamy, where
wow.
Infamy is nice, and unless it's a case where you're trying to annex a vassal and it costs 50 more Infamy than if you had just annexed them like 50 years earlier. Because in the time that you took to vassalize them and then annex them later, they've skyrocketed in population, and Infamy is calculated from base population instead of relative to the Overlord.
I do, yeah. I think that they need to reevaluate how annexing vassals works infamy wise in Vic.
What I mean is that I don't like it when they take a mechanic that is interesting in one area and then think everything needs to have Infamy.
Nathaniel, you're what the heck? Have an IO where a bunch of dwarven serpent spine expeditions converge in a hold and then fight for dominance? How many tiles do you think a dwarf hold's gonna be in EU5 Andanar?
Like for example, Joffrey, remember when we learned about hegemonies and then we spent like several hours arguing over what could or couldn't be a hegemony?
Yeah,
And we came to the conclusion that if we just put hegemonies everywhere, they'd be a lot less special.
yeah.
That's how I'm feeling,
Realistically,
basically.
I brought it up during the stream actually that there's realistically only two custom ones that we would add. That being one for magic and one for mundane because just tie it into the main vibe of the mod, whether you choose one or the other. And that would also be interesting because it would mean that it's literally impossible for you to get all of them. It would be because you would be physically incapable of getting
Good.
both the magic and mundane one.
I don't think you should be able to get everything. I think that's dumb. That's one of the things I liked about U5, where they actually made things exclusive. Where if you pick one certain branch, sure, a lot of them are shared, where you can get military diplomat admin, a lot of the shared ones. But there's specific texts that you won't be able to unlock if you don't focus on it. Which, yeah, things should be exclusive, and you shouldn't just be able to get everything you want.
Yeah, yeah. I do. Yeah, I look forward to when we're able to experiment, actually implementing our ideas for magic and mundane stuff. Earlier in this diary where they were talking about modding stuff, they showed a folder in the common folder, and there is a folder for unit types and unit categories, which means that you are both able to modify unit types and categories. Meaning categories are saying cavalry or artillery or
Ooh.
and
That means you can
then
add new categories?
so since it's a folder, that means you can theoretically at least add new ones. So like what categories are
Okay.
infantry, cavalry, artillery, and
Because I would
auxiliary,
just
I
like
guess.
spellcasters or something.
Yeah, exactly. My thoughts because you've got well, okay. The question becomes you got to look at how it actually works, but the idea is that I would want to do like unit type mages, and then you would have you know ones that function like cannons and ones that function like infantry, but I don't know how that would work
To
out.
be fair, I think mages should just be their own unit type. I think it's too. What if I say this? It's. I think it's much better to just pick mages and say these are your magi troops. They do specific. Okay, they don't have. I guess you can try to specialize them, but I think that should be its
It's
own thing that you can
probably
achieve
for the
later in the game.
it's probably for the best that we just make mages all function like cannons, but be their own category.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to say they're cannons because they're mages that can do things that aren't cannons because of the way magic is specialized.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's where you get into I guess, what do we
That's what I'm
let them
saying.
do?
Mage
How many different types?
specialization should be a separate thing that you unlock later.
War wagons, yeah, you've got Eric, of course. Eric always, he is not going to let me go. He needs,
Like for example.
until we add mages in war wagons, he's not going to let it go.
Oh god. But no, when we were talking about mages, it reminded me of like Hoi 4. Let me explain why. In Hoi 4, right, one of the things you have is like support companies. where you can take a division and give it this company to add buffs to it,
Yeah.
but it doesn't change. Like it's still an infantry template, but it can have things like tanks or like flamethrowers that make it more powerful than a regular infantry. I don't think there's an EU5 equivalent of that, but
No.
that's how I would envision mages at the start of the game, where you don't have mage divisions, you just have mages in your divisions that make them better. You don't unlock mage divisions until you're like Artom's Yada, or you get enough mages and you figure out, wow, if we just put mages into their own thing, they become magnified in power.
But yeah, that's the idea with codified magic as an institution, that you need that or special exceptions to actually recruit mage troops. That was
Oh no,
my
no, no!
initial
I think
list.
codified magic study should be a separate tech from what I'm talking about. Codified magic study is just we have schools, we actually know how to teach people magic instead of just the master apprentice system. But what I'm talking about is like a specific tactic. You see what I'm saying? I feel like those are two different things.
Maybe. Okay,
Because you
but you
can, like,
keep
Sumeria can
the
have codified
neuro,
magic. But oh, sorry,
neuro,
yes.
neuro auxiliaries aren't what you think. Auxiliaries are not what you think because auxiliaries aren't a combat unit. They are supplies. So unless you're saying that early mages would only be supplies, then it just doesn't. That's not what they do.
Apparently, because magic can do basically anything, as long as you have the power to do it. Magic is too unlimited for a game like you for any Paradox game, really. So it will have to be limited eventually. It's just how you limit it can change
So
depending on what we want to do.
Numcraft, when I say that mage units would be cannons, what I mean by that is the way that cannons work in EU5 is, well,
Oh,
reportedly
yes.
at least, the way that cannons work in EU5 is combat starts, two armies meet. Before anything happens at all, the two sides' cannons all attack. There's a
Oh
bombardment
yeah, yeah, yeah.
phase.
I remember you explaining this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I remember reading this dev diary.
And
That
then
that
the
blew my mind
cannons
because
get
cannons
engaged.
can
They
just
will slowly
yeah.
move and actually become engaged. So that's
They
why I would say
actually made
mages can do
cannons
that.
better than in EU4. It's far better. I agree. They just should be cannons, treated as cannons.
Yeah, so that's why I would say if because like early on in our development we should just keep stuff simple, keep it simple, stupid. That's literally our design
Yeah.
philosophy.
We can just rename it or
Just
something, and we can figure out actual things later.
just like I wouldn't even make I would make them just a subdivision of canon for early development. Just literally make it a subdivision of canon, and as a result target them specifically.
Hey, Joffrey, hear me out. I know how much you love the Ottomans getting cannons 10 years into the game. Let's just do that again.
Shut up. Well, yeah, I mean, there's some people who get mages early as a result, and they have good cannons as a result. That's the funny thing. They'd have good cannons early game. But yeah, levitation mages carrying supplies and stuff. Yeah, it makes sense. Like you could realistically have mages for any type. You can have mages that are
Well,
fucking.
yes, and mages can do basically
yeah,
anything. That's
they
the
can fit any
point.
category. The generic mage, I would say, generic mage units in an army would be in the cannon class for like fucking slinging fire bolts and shit at people from 50 million feet away or something.
I'm sure we can generalize magic to say you
Yeah.
have your destructive magic and your healing magic. And they probably don't know much more complex variations yet because they haven't done much with it.
Yeah. If there was a way, Nuru, to add like recovery for healing mages, that would be so cool. If you could add support, like add an auxiliary
It could be
unit
so
of
broken.
mages. There might be a way. It might be possible we could jank something like that into existing, and it could be a lot of fun.
Okay, Joffrey, hear me out.
But
Imagine Calvinist mages.
dude,
Before the battle even starts, you have your mages attack with like cannons, and then they roll a 6. So they just start dealing like infinite damage the entire round, and they wipe your army.
Lukey, yeah, yes, auxiliary units can fight. They are capable of fighting. They just don't typically do that. Like they can, they just don't. Like we're talking like at the beginning of the game, the only auxiliary unit you have is camp followers. So it's just a bunch of goons that carry food and shit. Like they ain't that much. So, and there wouldn't be much in the way of stuff that would like actually buff them either.
Wait, Joffrey. This just reminded me of something. If the Calvinist thing wasn't a joke, does that mean the Jane of something also wasn't a joke? Because in that same dev diary, they said if you have the Jane religion, you just can't declare wars without claim.
So what we saw is that yeah, the Calvinist thing is not in fact a joke. That is true. Like that actually is what Calvinists do.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that that's
Jane's
the case because they also made a Jane joke as well. They did both of them.
we saw the way that Janes work and like they get penalties for declaring wars.
I thought it
It's
was
not
that
that
they
they
had to
literally
do it
can't.
with a claim.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it was. I think yeah, they can't use
Yeah, they
CB
just can't do no CB.
and it would move your change your religious slider thing. But,
Well, any war would change your slider. You just can't do a no CB, I think is what they said.
mages working as cannons with its own type of damage, honestly, is the best. Yeah, that's where I would go. Again, yeah, that's where I would go.
I'm
To
sure
start
if they
with.
make it more moddable, we can figure something out later.
Oh no, it looks to me like it will be moddable enough from game start or from release. It's just that it takes a lot of work. So
Well, here's the
gotta
thing.
ease
I
into
don't
it.
know what they're going to change. What I'm saying is if they do happen to change something that helps us out, we can always reevaluate.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Magic
I'm so
damage
happy that
and
the
defense.
Calvinist thing
Oh,
was
not
real.
that. But yeah, the Calvinist thing being real is really funny, and
That made my day.
there's a lot of the situations that are probably going to happen where people will be like, "No, you
Okay.
you
To be fair,
toxic
Joffrey, they
big
did say,
Calvinist."
they specifically said for the Calvinists that if you pick their religion, it like increases your retreat time. So you can't just retreat and then go back into battle to make yourself get better rules because it will take you longer to do so than other people.
Yeah, but theoretically, your opponents don't have a changed retreat timer.
Exactly, that's my point. So
So
your
it might
opponents can
actually be
retreat and go
bad.
back in.
It might actually just be bad.
Well, no, yeah, to be fair, it takes you longer to get out of a battle. But if you're in the battle, you can, and you're reinforcing. Like you wouldn't take a battle unless you're forced into it, right? That you would lose.
Yeah, but like if you're fighting another player, the player doesn't have a penalized retreat time. So if you're fighting a battle
Yeah.
and you've got a really good roll, and so your roll is never going to change, that other player can just leave normally. But you can't
Well,
if you
they
get a bad one. So that other player has the advantage in continuing to cycle until they get an advantageous roll for you.
Well, no, because other players their role will change during the battle. They can't cycle because even if they get a good roll at the start, it'll still change for them.
Yeah, but
Oh,
yours
if you're a
won't.
Calvinist, yes,
No.
yours won't.
Yeah, so if the battle starts and the other player sees that you, the Calvinist, have rolled a 1, they will stay as long as they can, and you are
Yes,
stuck longer because you have a
yes.
worse retreat timer. But if
Oh, I see what
you
you're saying.
roll
So you're saying if
good,
you roll a 6, they
yeah,
can leave, is what you're
yeah,
saying.
they can leave sooner because when you roll a 6 because they're not locked in. But if you
That's
roll
a
a
point.
1, you're stuck in for
Hmm.
longer. That's why I'm
I
saying
didn't
it's
think
probably going
about
to be
that. That's
bad.
actually interesting.
I'm saying that if the longer retreat timer affects both parties, that would be funny and actually like good. But it's not gonna. It's just gonna be you.
It's just gonna be you because that's a paradox we're talking about. They
Mm,
might fix it later.
I don't think that's gonna be a fix. I think that's just a downside to the faith.
We'll see.
But moving along from the yeah, provinces, special status. Oh God, policies to vote for the United Provinces. I thought they were that it was just going to be united instantly.
Yeah, same here. That's how they did it in EU4, right?
Enables one vote per
Then
province.
again, I don't know
Enables
much about the
wealth
Dutch. Maybe
voting.
this is how it was in real life.
Oh my God, you can do like how strong people are. So you can be like the voting power. You do one province, one vote. Every province gets a single vote. Their wealth. So then the province's wealth gives them more voting power. Their military gives them more voting power. Popular vote. Literally just have more pops. And then you get the ruler type. Wow, that's so cool. This is exactly, by the way, this is the sort of thing I want to do for the Concord. I want this sort of bullshit to be like the early game for how the Concord gets either stabilized or breaks apart entirely. Where there needs to be Holdwin and Tuport needs to argue with the rest of the powerful countries before there are electors, because currently there won't be electors decided, and you need to figure out how the fuck the place is even functioning. American map coming up. Yes, apparently I have been informed that they're covering after the end. There's an after the end mod. So let's move on from this. And yeah, generic missions. Yeah, I actively dislike these, so I'm not even going to look at them. But before or after the end, we get Voltaire's Nightmare 3 briefly. Where they explain that, yeah, they don't have stuff to show us, I guess. Um, Most detailed, yeah. Detailed representation of the HRE. They're not making a new map. Or maybe it is. Or maybe they are making a new map. I assume so. They just don't have much to show yet. But theoretically, yeah, it's just make the HRE even more ridiculously granular.
Hmm.
And
Actually, Joffrey, question for you. What are your predictions for what they might want to add that wasn't in EU4? Like in
this.
new DLCs or new content?
Oh, you don't mean Voltaire's Nightmare? Because holy shit, look at this.
Sorry for that.
You didn't. I thought you meant Voltaire's Nightmare because, like, look at this shit. Oh my god.
No, I mean like for vanilla. What would vanilla want to add that's not in like EU4? If that makes any sense.
I don't know.
Because they're talking. Because, for example, right, CK3 added landless adventure, something that wasn't in CK2. So I'm wondering if EU5 might do a similar thing to EU4. Like, sure, I think they briefly mentioned societies of tops. I don't know how much you will actually want to play them.
Oh, Societies of
What
Pops,
else could
yes.
be a
I do
That's one example. I'm just thinking of another example.
I do think that they'll try and make that work eventually. But other than playable
Well, remember they
country
said the reason why they didn't. Well, the reason why they said they didn't add it into vanilla was because they're going to add it later as a DLC. I'm pretty sure that's what they said, at least.
they haven't been able to make them have good gameplay pre-release, so they're just shelving it for the moment and theoretically adding it later.
Oh, they didn't mention the DLC part. I guess that's just me then.
Oh. Well, that's the idea. It would be a part of a DLC.
Oh, okay.
But yes, playing around with the special statuses. Ministeriales, Imperial Knighthood, Imperial Villages. This actually, now that I think about it, so, did you know, Nemcraft, that they apparently shelved Partition? They're not actually going to have Partition Succession in EU5?
Oh, thank God.
I'm very sad about this.
I love Partition Enjoy. I hate Partition so much.
Yeah, so don't play someone who has it, is what I would say, but they got rid of it, so that means I can't make the...
I understand. Okay.
I can't make the more
add it
cities,
again.
so. Yeah,
I'm sure they'll add it eventually. It's okay. My problem with Partition is it feels like for this. At least from what I remember of CK3, the reason why I don't play most pagans is actually because of Partition. And my problem with it is you play for such a small amount of time in the span of CK3, like maybe 100 years to 200 years, depending on how much you're invested into your game. Within that time, getting primogeniture is basically impossible. There is basically no way for you to research a tech that fast unless you're min-maxing, or you're going out of your way to just kill your other heirs and not be playing for RP.
Sorry, Nemcraft.
What's the price here?
Oh, yeah, what happened?
These are
Oh, I never mind. I see your stream. Yeah, Charlie showed up.
So, eat it. You go to the store. There's a bag of 6 bagels. How much are they?
Bag of 6 bagels?
Yeah.
How much are they?
Yeah. Considering the muffins right there are $8 for 8.
Yeah.
How much are a bag of 6 bagels?
Like $7?
Exactly, right? There's a fucking lady on TikTok being like, "Oh, a bag of 6 bagels is like $2. Where the fuck are you?"
So wait, is this Canadian dollars or US
it's $2.
dollars? Yeah, can someone translate how many US dollars that is?
It's very important. open.
I mean, I don't like bagels, but yeah, I mean, I
You
guess.
don't like bagels?
No,
Why not?
I don't like bagels.
I really like bagels.
Yeah, I don't like
It's
bagels
really
either. I used to like them, but the problem I have with bagels is that they're
Anyway,
too annoying to chew.
yeah. I think we should have.
Eric Shadowblade is judging Canada's price on
Well,
muffins.
okay, you gotta think about it though, because he's in Germany. What's the price
Different
conversion?
Eric. Different Eric.
Well, whoever he is.
He's like a 13. He's like like a fetus. He's an
Oh.
American fetus, I think.
Well, that's just like a price comparison then, because I think America it would be like
7 CAD is 5 US. Okay.
Oh, okay, but I wasn't
still.
that crazy, I
What
guess.
do you live? The bag of bagels is $2.
I think remember what the last time I got
Australia.
bagels, I could get like a 12-pack for $5.
Like I can't even get a fucking bag of tiny chips for like $3. Anyway, I just had to bring that up. It was very important.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course, of course.
Your the TikTok bagel drama.
I came here for something else. I don't remember what.
That
No,
that
no.
that.
I think it's in my backpack.
Well, she didn't want a muffin, at least.
I don't like muffins.
Well, that's your loss.
I don't like bagels. I don't want to hear it.
Muffins should never be $1 per muffin, by the way. Listen. Until like I used to get it used to be literally half that cost at Costco for these humongous muffins, but then they stopped selling the humongous muffins that were like always 2 packs for a great deal. No. Now it's $8 for just this singular box of muffins.
That is just the
Muffins
classic cost-cutting measures.
It's so sad. I loved
It
the
is.
2 really big bags. But anyway, put these back.
Indeed.
You should put muffins in your mouth.
No, Joffrey,
I do have
question for you.
muffins in the mod. Yeah, yeah. There's a city state of dwarves that make muffins. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Joffrey,
Hi.
I was asking why do you like partition?
Okay. Because I am a Diplo player, so I like it.
Here's the thing, though. Partition feels like it's anti-Diplo, the way it was implemented in CK3.
Well, it's you use character interactions to adjust who inherits, and then you make sure that the people that do inherit that aren't your primary heir don't despise you and can be kept under control. That is diplomaxing right there. It's engaging.
No. Here's the thing. Are we talking about high partition or Confederate partition?
We talking about high partition or Confederate partition. Well, do better, Nemcraft. If you got Confederate partition, then that means you're a lame gimp tribe, and that means that you're bad at the game and need to get better. So that's different.
How is it any different? Yeah, Joffrey, that's why I hate partition. Partition feels like it's not actually asking you to play the game. Because, for example, I've tried partition before. Every time when your land gets taken from partition, you don't get any claims. There's no way. You have to refabricate everything to get it back. And by that point, they're sell or kill your heirs or brothers, basically. And that feels very anti-gameplay, where you can't try to reclaim the land because you have no way to do that beyond just murder.
Conquest?
Yeah, you don't get to conquer because you don't have claim. You have to fabricate everything again.
What the fuck are you talking about? Do you
I've done
not play
partition.
CK3? Nemcraft, I keep seeing you play CK3. You are grinding the fucking Andalus strats for the next mega campaign.
And I'm telling you, Andalus has partition. When you lose titles in partition, you don't get claims on them.
You do.
I didn't get any claims.
Well,
I
you're
literally
playing
didn't.
the game wrong then, and you're just bad. Because I'm right and you're wrong. Guys, back me up quick. I just made a big claim. Come on, back me up, guys, in the chat, please.
Like, for example, Joffrey, the reason why clan is better with partition is because you can actually change from Confederate to high partition through the gameplay with harmonious versus contested succession. That actually has Diplo because if you make your family members like each other, you'll inherit more land, and that's a way for you to change the partition and get more titles that doesn't involve just murdering all your siblings. There's multiple ways to play it, and that makes it better.
Yeah, you do.
But with tribal, you don't have that. I didn't get any claims last I checked.
Every time,
This was like 5 days ago when I played Andalusia.
I am so certain you do, Eric. I don't believe. Okay. I mean, I know it's annoying for a lot of people, but like, I know, like, you get claimed. Like, that's the whole point of the 867 start date, is that all of the Carolingian brothers have claims on each other's shit.
Because they started with claims, Joffrey.
Yeah, and they started with claims because they had partition, and then they get claims on each other's lands because they're all
they start
lands
with
held by
claims.
their father,
Joffrey.
and their father
That's
had the
not why they
titles.
start. That's not why they start with
They
claims.
start with claims
Joffrey.
because their father held all those
No.
titles, and because their father held those titles, they get pressed claims on all the titles that their father held.
That's not how that works. They start with claims because the devs coded it in so that they have claims on each other's lands.
We will continue this discussion later, Nemcraft.
Joffrey, they
I will
have
see you in
claims
the
on the Whole
office
Roman
after
Empire.
school.
A title. They have claims on that title that physically doesn't exist.
Yes, you will hear me crash out randomly about claims because Namcraft is a big dummy and is playing the game wrong. It's probably due to his weird government type or something, maybe his religion. Goddamn harmonious succession. That's probably what it is. It's your harmonious succession type.
Well, no.
That's what it is.
Okay, Joffrey, how many times do you think I watched the AI Andalusia get partitioned before I took it over?
Supposed to be doing a podcast night now, but like, I swear to God, I want to load up CK3 right now and prove it to you.
I'll load it up when I get back, and if you're right, then you're right.
And then you will grovel in fear.
I still think partition is bad because if there are claims that make it better, but it still feels inherently anti-RP because you can't RP a way to get your land back without just fabricating or killing.
Okay, Charlie says I need to be nice to you now.
No, it's fine. You don't have to.
He says I don't have to. Oh, okay. Okay. I'll be nice to Nemcraft. Okay. Alright. So, anyway.
But yeah, that's what I was trying to explain. Partition can be done well. I just don't think CK3 does it well for tribal. That's why I think clan partition is better because you have a way to RP around it that doesn't involve just killing all your siblings or imprisoning your heir when you're still the king.
The way it was
Because
gonna
both of
work.
those strategies feel like it's you're metagaming your way to get your land without playing the actual character.
So, but talking about EU5 partition again, yeah, they were going to.
I don't know how partition works in EU5.
And it doesn't. Now it's even worse. It's unironically even worse because before it was like it was gonna originally be that like the neat, the idea of a new tag pops out, because of your family.
New tag.
Yeah, it would pop out a new tag. That was how like the partition would work. Is the idea your tag would split up and you would lose land unless you reform the partition. That would be a important thing for the early game for a lot of imperial countries. In fact, the game start emperor was going to be dealing with partition, and him being an emperor would mean he'd have an easier time. But that's not going to happen anymore. Now, instead, it's even worse, which the way that partition works, the succession type, it's even worse. It's just dumb, because now, instead, you get a modifier every time your ruler dies on your entire country that just makes your country worse and have less control because of titles being partitioned among your siblings and shit. Like nothing actually changes.
So instead of physically splitting the land, it just gives you a negative modifier.
Yes.
You're right, that is worse.
Yeah, it's worse. It's very cringe.
Which, again, like I was saying, Joffrey, getting a way to get rid of partition wouldn't be bad because it's just a problem in CK3. Because just for quick comparison, in CK3 you only get primogeniture at the very end of your tree. So basically around like that 1200s or 1300s, unless you're playing Carolingian France, and then you have a decision that just gives it to you for free.
Yeah. And part of the reason I think it's okay to have that concept working in EU5 is because it's not like the main focus of the game. It's just one of the many things that you worry about in the game. So if you were like a tribe or a country that had partition in EU5 and it split up your country when your ruler dies, it would just be another thing to think about and be like, I need to fix this. And you wouldn't need to be like, wait until I get this tech and then fix it. You would just be able to. It would just take effort. And
Yeah,
that would be
if
interesting.
that's good.
Yeah.
Then I would, if that's how they do it in EU5, I'd like to see it back because it would actually make the game more flavorful.
So hopefully they figure out a way to make it work the way they were originally intending it, because I don't
I,
like what
I
they're doing now.
assume I assume the way they're going to handle it is by fixing or figuring out client states. Because in EU4, you could just pop up at a new tag with the tag whenever you felt like it using client states.
Well, you can do
And
that
I
in
think they
EU5.
probably. Oh, why don't they just use client states for partitions then?
Well,
Because that just creates a tag, right?
They just claim that 'cause it's not the client state button. There's just a lot of ways that new tags pop up. Revolts always create a new tag. Civil wars are a new tag. Uh, vassals can be
I wonder
created. You
why
can
it's
just
an issue
create a
then.
new tag as a vassal out of nowhere. You could just conquer
Really?
an island and just be
Interesting.
like, all right, that island is now this vassal. People do that consistently when they're conquering because
Oh, so if they can just create new vassals, why can't they do it for partition? Why is that an issue?
they didn't explain specifics, but they just said they ran into significant issues along the way, and I think one of those might be their ruler dying during a war. So I think that could be part of it. And as a result, I think like the way I would have solved that, for example, would be if the ruler dies when at war, just add the split off country to the war, so that there's no shenanigans with like ruler dies while at war, partition happens, and now that person who's fighting you can't take the land, stuff like that. But anyway, here's hoping that they work on that.
It would
Regardless,
be interesting.
there was a particular place in our HRE in Kiangol, the Morin cities, as you know about those guys.
Yeah. The one there, they get partitioned. They have Confederate partition just the entire time.
Yeah,
The whole idea is they're never allowed to like combine.
I wanted them to be just suffering with partition succession stuff. But now that's not good. And I was intending on making it even worse by making them have a modifier. I was going to make them have an even worse form of partition, which gave them said negative modifiers on succession. But that's just
They
not
stole your idea.
Regardless, my plan as well was that those people, those tags in the Morin cities, were going to be referred to as Elector Knights, because they were going to have their own international organization within the HRE, where every single tile, every single dude has a singular vote, and you need
Wait, Joffrey,
all
that's
of
a
the
really
Morin
funny
cities
idea.
need to get together to make reforms and shit.
Wait, Joffrey, I just thought of something. What if for the Morin cities, you know how like duchies, kingdoms, empires all have different size limits, right? Or like if you're a really big duchy,
I'll go
you're
to the
gonna
bathroom.
suffer
I'll be right
penalties.
back. But I'll listen.
Okay. Okay, what I was saying is that for duchies, kingdoms, empires, and EU4 at least, I think it's the same in EU5, but I'll have to double check. They have different like size limitations. Where if you're a really big duchy, you're going to suffer penalties unless you become a kingdom, right, and increase your rank. And what I'm thinking is you could do something like that for the Morin cities, where you make their ranks really small until they form some kind of bigger tag that will allow them to own more things. So like, they can conquer stuff. It'll just suck until they can conquer enough to form the like better nation or something. That's what I was thinking, at least. Like that way, it would disincentivize conquering unless you're able to conquer enough to make it worth it. Because if I remember right, with the Morin cities, it's not just like you have one big formal. You have like several smaller ones, right? You got like the three different parts of the Morin cities, I think. And then even within that, I think there are other formals. I'll have to double check, but from what I remember, that sounds right. We could do different tiers like that like slowly increase your gov cap or whatever it's called to a more reasonable limitation.
So the region, the idea is that the Elector Knights are all part of the Shattered Kingdom of the Morin lands. I forget what the united name for that kingdom was though. There's been multiple kingdoms that ruled it too. And so within it, there's the three different cultures, and each culture is in a corner, and each of those cultures has a duchy. And so all of the dudes would start as counts, but I would give them a very penalizing major government reform that would be the elector. It would be like, because I was thinking, I want to see what Voltaire's Nightmare 3 does with this. They've got the ministries with unfree knights and officials who were employed for administrative purposes, who partially evolved into dynastic rulers over time, and imperial knighthoods. So, like, the imperial knighthood is just it's ruled by a knightly canton, as a counterbalance to the high nobility, which realistically is what that whole place should almost entirely be. It's just a bunch of really shitty OPMs that live in marshlands.
So Joffrey, you're basically saying daimyos, but if they sucked.
Daimyos, but if they sucked and lived in Phrygia. Phrygia, but landlocked. Yeah, it's not great, and they will defend each other from the outside, but that's about it. They're very prone to infighting and stuff. So the idea is that they would be they would suffer from having terrible control propagation and stuff, and they would have bonuses to vassals, and so you make the duchy, and it would help, and then make the kingdom, and then you're better.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that I like that idea, and the reason why I brought it up was to say that you don't need some kind of like crazy new penalty. You could just use the existing game mechanic of the, having to like hold all this land or have cities.
Your voice is going all robotic right now, so move on from that topic for now, and discuss After the End at last. Because shockingly, there's an After the End mod for EU5, which I did not expect at all until today, when I was told.
Also, as Joffrey Mag said, you're right. You went and tested it.
Mag's ping, is that what that ping is
Hello?
that I got?
Yeah, the ping is him saying he tested partition. And apparently they did get claims.
No, indeed.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
Yes, I have been proven right, and now my dominion shall reign over the earth forever and ever. Blah blah blah. Anyway, Gemalt. Yeah, there's no After the End mod for
Indeed.
EU4, which it is. So yeah, that's part of why it's so shocking that there's one for EU5, because this is somewhat out of the blue. They did not do EU4 stuff, but it was just Crusader Kings. But I guess because of the fact that After the End, because of the timeline being starting in 1337, they can make it work, because it's supposed to be a medieval mod, but since it starts in the late medieval ages, it kind of works for the vibe of the early game. So it's interesting. I'm sure I'll play this, but original After the End has been expanded, interpreted, repurposed. Do they explain if they're doing just the Americas? I assume they're just doing the Americas. They claim there is? What? At EU4 After the End mod? I never heard of this. What? I never heard that was a thing. Looking at the After the End Discord, there is one? Huh. Okay. I doubt it's that fleshed out, but it's curious that exists. EU5, yeah. the more the more flexible. It's called long after the end. That's kind of fun. That's what they should have called this one. They should call this a long after the end. I like that. The more flexible religious systems allow us to portray various schools and variations of the same religion. Yeah. So that's how they're doing the different Catholic Church branches. Makes sense. Because there's a ridiculous number of Catholic branches in the CK3 one. Catholic countries have the folk devotions, folk saints, patron saints. Yeah. Solid position for new resources and RGO distributions that push for neo-colonialism. What neo-colonialism? But like everything's settled, so that doesn't. I guess the idea is you want to conquer people for new resources. Yeah, the Holy Colombian Commonwealth can work. This is showing the culture map. I love Quebec. Oh my god. No, not the lowercase Ottawa culture. Aw. But yeah, Quebecois Montrealais. Jesus Christ. I feel sick seeing all these Quebecers. God damn it. Really few population numbers. 43,000 people for all of Quebec. Well, I mean, they definitely should have very low pop numbers in this mod. Should probably make it run a lot better, I'm gonna be honest. And the Kingdom of Ontario. Love showing Canada, yay. The United Church. The fucking Anglican branch.
It's so peak.
Consumerist, Galvanist, Remembrance are still here. Yay! But yeah, Mayan. Oh yeah, the voodoo
But
religion. Yeah.
hey, Joffrey, you said who you wanted to play first, right? I just don't remember.
Who I wanted to play first, as in just in EU5
In
itself.
EU5. Yes.
I mean, I said a lot of people I wanted to play first. One of the big ones I keep thinking about is Morocco.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, that's the one I remember.
It's definitely high on my list. At least if they fix the fact that Muslims can't explore and colonize because they don't use rum.
I did think that was funny, but hear me out, Joffrey. I'm going to find a way. If they don't fix the bug, I'm going to play Granada and get Castile as a vassal and have them colonize for me.
Play Granada and have Castile colonize for you.
Yeah, just take their colonies. No, I don't want to play Granada. That's my first game. That sounds like it'll be miserable.
Yeah.
So my first EU5 game, who would I want to play? Actually, kind of tough.
Oh my god. The entirety of Brazil, the entirety of the Brazilian Empire is only 1.8 million pops. Holy.
Sounds about right.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, Africa is visible. Africa is visible. Does this mean
Okay, I
that
have
they
an
are
idea.
going to do the whole world in After the End?
Why would they do the whole world?
Because
Or at least from what I remember, I've only seen the After the End America mod and the After the End Old World mod. I have never seen one for Asia.
then they can make it. I mean, they don't. I'm sure that there's
Yeah, but there's no
probably
like
some more.
pre-existing lore. They have to invent all of it.
I know that
At least that
there's
I know of.
probably some at least. And it's not like they have had a shortage of time. with how much time we've spent doing our cooking on stuff. Yeah, it's over
Well,
a
if
year
that's
and a
the
half
case,
at
then
this
I'm
point.
cautiously if that's the case, then I'm cautiously optimistic to see what they come up with.
I do hope that they do that eventually. It would be cool. You could check after the end of U4 to see what they did. Did they actually have the world after the end of U4? But yeah, yeah, as you're saying, yeah, yeah, Max, yeah. There's yeah, it's not a one-to-one from the CK3 is the idea. Yeah. South American religions. This is the thing that apparently Eden was very annoyed with. Or Eden, our
You don't
Argentine.
like the Platinian religion,
Yeah, he
Joffrey?
really doesn't like the Plantanean religion. I have no idea what that means.
It means that like the people that live in Argentina, like or Paraguay, whatever, they don't have like Catholicism. It's just literally just Platinian.
But there's
He
a
doesn't know what it
shit.
means either.
But there's a shit ton of Catholic around in Argentina and Chile and stuff as well, though. So,
Okay.
so what's Plantanean?
Well, no, I'm assuming Platinian isn't their real religion. They
I
just made
mean,
it
I
up.
mean, Gauchada is that's a fucking hilarious name for a religion. But I get that. Plantanean is like what? What is
Okay,
this?
I'm assuming. Okay, if you want my opinion, Joffrey, I think Platinian is going to be the South American version of the Americanist.
If it's a goddamn Americanist religion
That's my
for
theory.
for
No, no, no. I don't
Argentina,
think
that
it's
would be hilarious.
Americanist. I think it's their version of it.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like instead of the founding fathers, they look back to like Jose San Martin and they're like, those were he's the true founder of this world. He,
yeah.
he
If Plantanean is like the Jose San Martin religion slash Argentine equivalent of Americanist, then Eden would be on board.
I don't know if
The-
he would. I think he still would hate it
Now he loves
because
Plantanean as a concept. I just think that he
no,
thinks
he
that
doesn't.
religion's cringe.
I thought he was complaining about the. He doesn't know what the religion actually is. He
No,
was just
he doesn't
complaining
like
that
the
it
religion.
exists.
Yeah, he doesn't like that this religion exists because he doesn't know what it means. But he
Yeah, he was
um
complaining that it's not Catholic because
yeah.
they're making religions up even though they don't need to. That's what he was complaining about.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what it is.
If it's actually Americanist, we can ask him and see what he says.
Yeah. I mean, I hate my home is now a Catholic papal state. What? You're you live in the what is that place called? I forget where it is. I mean, what it's called, but yeah, it's somewhere in the Midwest. There's like a tag that's basically the papal state. Yeah.
Okay, I will say I'm not a big After the End critic because I've barely played it. I never actually played the original After the End mod. I played the okay. I only the only time I played After the End was when I did the like old world version of CK2 way back in the day when I first started playing the game because I heard it had like a Tolkien faith in it. That's the only reason why I played it. I don't know much about the lore myself. The I will say the thing that always confused me is how like the Mayans and Aztecs came back from the middle of nowhere. You know they're all dead. Like sure
Yeah,
there are some Mayans, but like
that's like it's a
that's the
neat
part that always got
concept.
me more than anything.
It's a neat concept, but I think that that's one of the things that is a little that's okay. It's more than a little too far. The idea that they're so big, I like that they exist, and I would, but I much prefer that they're haggard small tags with cultures that are starting to make a comeback and have the potential to grow, but are not like the odds aren't stacked in their favor because then I would play them almost exclusively and try and bring do a haggard ass Native American restoration run. But you got a 50% chance of them being the dominant power in a lot of regions. So
Yeah,
Tawantin
it's
Suyu
the
being a
same thing I
thing makes
didn't.
absolutely no sense. I'm not in
It's the
support of
same
that.
problem I had in Fallout when we were playing the old world blues 24 mod, where I was just sitting there like, "Are you kidding me? There's all Native Americans down there. Like, what the hell happened?"
But yes, as the question, Nuru, yeah, how do I feel about after the end being upright? Um, yeah,
What does upright mean?
Meaning it's not sideways. In CK3, it's
Oh, I
sideways.
prefer that way.
Yeah, it's much better. I don't know. It's how is it even a question? It's good that it's actually upright.
I actually wish they turned the map 90 degrees.
Sorry. Yes, Nemcraft, you're right. I wish that they actually would turn it 90 degrees to make me just, feel more like it's CK3. I just, yeah. And yes, the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, that's a funny
Oh
religion
yeah,
too.
I love that religion. Okay, maybe it's just me. I thought it was so funny seeing the Minnesota Vikings go raiding.
Yeah. um, but yeah, we got a mod for New World Improvement Project. It's a day zero release. Oh.
Hmm.
What?
I guess the one thing about After the End is that since it's in EU4, we're not going to have any sunset invasions. I thought it was really funny that you could have a potential like English comeback.
Formable colonial Brazil. Oh, so the like so like whatever colony you form in Brazil can like form the tag of Brazil. That's really cool. Okay, I do like the idea of colonial nations being able to form tags.
I disagree. I don't think they should be able to unless they're independent.
Well, in the context of them, like if they're a colonial nation, they can't conquer the other colonies. The idea is just like if they've got the right territory, they could press a button and become that tag. Is
Yeah,
the
but that's
idea.
what I'm saying. I don't like that because, for example, a lot of the colonial or a lot of the identities that relate to countries like Brazil or Mexico or the United States, those only came about as a result of their new independence. Like the national identity coalesced in part because they fought for independence against their colonizers.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, at least that's why I'm not a fan.
Your idea of historical and dynamic names, more active colonial AI. Viceroyalty of New Spain, Santo Domingo.
Now, you know what would be really funny? If you could do a thing where if the colonies somehow like started federating, if they added colony federations in EU4, that would be peak.
So the colonies can unite in EU5 during the Age of
Or
Revolution. So
American
like
Pie, my bad.
in the end game in EU5, they can begin
See,
to
I don't mean
unite
that though,
during.
Joffrey. I mean specifically in the case of things like Australia or Canada. If they
So
added
how is
something
that
like that
different
in
from
EU5,
Brazil? How is that different from if someone is like if there's Portuguese colonies in Brazil that they could unite underneath Portugal?
hmm. Okay, maybe it's. I don't think about that word. That's a good point. The difference for me is that colonies like Canada, see, I guess functionally they shouldn't be allowed. They shouldn't be forbidden from being able to make something like a federation of Brazil. But in cases like Canada, they were doing that because it was a like move. Wasn't it a move like from the crown itself to federate the colonies
It was
and like combine some of them?
it was equal. Uh, it was both parties wanted to do it for various reasons. Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like that's a different case than like a revolution. Maybe America specifically could be locked out then, because I guess Brazil could theoretically have it.
Big pet peeve.
Like I
Why
said,
is
it's
it
something I
called
have to consider
Republic of
more.
America and not United States? That's true. Yeah. America should probably have something that causes it to be called United States of America.
Republic of America sounds so
It
wrong.
does
Like,
not sound
I
right. Yeah,
don't know.
they should have it as wacky as it sounds. I guess the United States should have a unique major reform that lets them be called United States instead.
I mean, the way I see it, I think you could have a difference because if we're gonna go the granular route with government reforms, like EU5 seems to already be doing, you should have a difference between a federation and a unitary state.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that should be a very clear difference because it's happened a lot of times in history.
You're right. You're right.
Like a federation or republic should mean something, in my opinion.
'Cause, yeah, I mean, there's a government reform in EU4 called the Union of States. So just if you're like United States, there you go. Makes you be called that instead. If you're a republic, if you're a republic and that you're a unitary, then yeah.
Actually, Joffrey, you made me think of something. When it comes to things like Brazil being formable by colonies, I would say not in every case, but specifically for the U.S., you should be able to form like a united colony. It just shouldn't be called the U.S. It should be something
Yeah.
a different name. That's what I would do at least.
I mean, like that's so you get the Dominion of Canada, for example.
Yeah,
The
so something
Dominion,
like that. That would
like you
make more
could call
sense.
it the Dominion of America.
That would be better. Yeah, that then I'd be more in favor of it. Okay.
The United States is an international organization under the Articles of Confederation, but becomes a
Shut
single
up!
tag
No,
after the
stop! Get out of
Constitutional
my head!
Convention. You're so right. Oh my gosh, Nemcraft, this is for real.
No, stop giving you ideas. No,
All right,
we're gonna be here forever.
the thing is, Nemcraft, that's actually how it works when you try and achieve independence as the American colonies. So, or like any other
If
colonial
someone
nation.
decides for some godforsaken reason to keep the Articles of Confederation, I don't know what else to say at that point.
That would be like imagine a timeline where like America never centralized any more than that. Just like yep,
That sounds miserable.
just a bunch of states. Basically just the EU, but America.
That's what it points out. Under the Articles of Confederation, every state had their own currency. The government was not
What?
allowed to make its own currency. Yes,
Holy
that's
shit,
a genuine
that's so
thing.
bad.
It was so bad. Yeah, why do you think I'm so against the Articles? It's so like, no, you would not want that at all. Like it's worse than the EU because they don't have a euro.
America at its most pure. Return to Confederation. It's so real.
No.
Yeah, I also think Canada should return to the point where we didn't have Newfoundland and Labrador. Just leave that to the Brits. We the Newfies are weird, man. God damn, they speak so weird. They kiss fish.
Reject majority. Return to Hudson Bay Company.
Embrace the HBC. Yes, time to make all the furniture and wool, all the furniture and fur hats imaginable.
Yeah, every person
Oh
living in
my
the
god!
country of Canada is no longer a citizen; they are a stakeholder.
Look at this image. Oh no! I don't like this image.
1 second, I'm on my phone. Let me go back to your stream. I have it open just on a different tab. Oh God!
Have you found Scotland yet?
Yeah, I see it. All right.
Scotland in the middle too. The Republic of Massachusetts. The Tamaulipeco nobles. Lower California, Colony of California. Lake Superior. Lake Superior.
You keep looking at this stuff. I'm more concerned at the fact that Cahokia is still alive.
Wait, where? Oh my god, it is. It looks like
How is
America's
Cahokia living?
killing
Like
it.
what? They're surrounded by enemies.
Verona. Verona was Louisiana. Oh, I do. Yeah, Cahokia is still being around in year 1764. Based as fuck.
Wait, independent Quebec? Hold up.
I assume it's a colony of Quebec, but also, no, it's not the right color.
See, Canada at least says colony of Canada, but and maybe it's just because of the size limitations.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it's a colony. Same as Republic of Massachusetts, not a colony. This is an independent colony. Republic of Massachusetts. Jesus Christ. Lake Superior is giving me just so many conniptions, right? I do not like this. I mean, wow. This is like Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich, United States. Yeah, it does kind of look
You got
like
the
it,
you
doesn't
got the California Republic, yeah.
it? Quebec is green, yeah. Weird champ, green Quebec. What's wrong with Massachusetts flag? Huh? Also, do you not like the fact that they're low Franconian, which means that this was found like David von Arnhem? This was a Dutch colony. Cahokia the Chads putting high in High American, yeah. I'm gonna make it work. There's also a High Plains tag. New York was Dutch IRL, but this isn't New York City itself. This ain't New Amsterdam. This is Massachusetts. The hell is that symbol at the top of the screen with the samurai flag helmet? I mean, huh. But it's interesting the fact that this is theoretically a just observer game that caused the Republic of America to exist. So, Age of Revolutions actually might be working out sometimes. That's cool. Also, think there's so many Aztec tags still around. Like, that's a big Tamaulipeco. Yeah, Central America was not conquered in this. And I think, based on what people have talked about when they're colonizing, honestly, I figure that Central America, if you play as them, is going to be pretty feasible. Because I think it will actually be pretty feasible to play as Central America because as long as you're not a dingus, because the colonial powers will come over and just don't antagonize. Don't make it your point. Don't make it a point of just actively trying to beat the shit out of the colonial powers immediately, because they will demolish you. But the colonial nation like powers won't be able to have enough troops over in your land to really fight you long term if you are able to withstand the initial collapse of society. And yeah, so all civil wars are yeah, it's nobles in this context because it's a noble revolt, because I guess nobles are the easiest to actually get to revolt on you. But it'll say Tamaulipecho nobles, I mean peasants, if it is a peasant revolt, for example. And we have seen some of those. I wonder if you can Crusader King survive by offering to be a vassal of the colonizers? I doubt it, but that would be cool. Oh, there's a rule. There's a rule set for all countries explore and colonize. I like that. I see. That explains. So like you'll theoretically have like the default rule stopping, for example, the Pope from colonizing, as you'll see in some games because he's got a lot of money. That should be interesting. The new world in Armod's going to be absolutely fucking hell because there's going to be so many different people that colonize. Arcanum? Eu5 modathons, but today we're showcasing another mod. Not showcasing a mod or a modathon. Introducing the next gen modding tool Melco and I have been developing for EU5. Arcanum. Okay. Scald mentioned this. He said that this was something that was really good. This development only started when Project Caesar was publicly announced. There's lots of work to be done. Yes. Okay, so what does it do? It's built to make working with your mods smoother and to take some, if not most of the heavy repetitive work off your shoulders. Okay, that's a bold claim. Modifying any object is no longer a case of finding the right file, locating the object's definition within it, and understanding how to change the value. Can all be done from a few simple clicks, no prior knowledge required. That's again a bold claim. I need to see how that works. If you ever press the wrong button, no worries. Undo, redo system as you're back. Okay, I do like the undo redo system. Oh, yeah. Saving said changes just as flexible. Hit the single button, or there's moving objects between files or saving only certain objects in a file. Oh, jeez. The interactive map helps you visualize your changes and makes it easier to select and edit locations and other objects. We'll dive into that in more detail later. Use any object or keyword to find what you're looking for. UI customization. UI customization. Decide what should be shown where. Okay, for each object individually. Okay. Yeah. Deeply integrated interactive map helping with the productivity of map modes, smart selection tooltips, and more. Sheesh. This probably is going to be mandatory. Main menu which opens on startup. Possible to select different play sets and to quickly switch the mod you're currently working on. Oh wow. Get informed if a new version is released. Recent projects, blank map, test mod. Okay. When you were to spend most of your time using the tool. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Yeah, let's convert religion, Catholic. No way. Has canonization, has cardinals, has doom, has honor. What? Important country? What the hell is this? That's my next 10 years. Yeah. They give an empty map template with everything already disabled. This is wild. Listen, I've done a lot of work on province mapping stuff, but I've done a lot of work on that, but depending on how hard, if it's hard for me to transfer that in, I mean, theoretically I'll be able to just transfer that in and have it work fine in this system. But hey, if this works as well as it looks like it will, I might end up having to just ditch the work I've done and start over to make it integrated with this. But I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. But this looks fantastic. I'm Catholic. Who wants to convert? Sure, it probably won't be that hard for me to just add my own map already that's made. As avatars is good. All this stuff just talking about the religion Catholic color on the map. And then important country for the religion. Language, Latin language. Maxed sects. What's that? Maxed sects. What is that? Needs reform. Huh. And then opinions of the different religions, yeah. That is something I'm very keen on, is making sure that all of the religions in our mod have, you know, opinions on each other and stuff. Cultured locked group. Kind of wish there was, you know, the ability to have multiple groups. Maybe it's possible if you click the plus, but I doubt it. Looks like, oh, it looks a little raw. It's much easier than manual code. Yeah, it probably will be. It probably will be. There's all these different, like, yeah, you just click plus. Like, this is going to be the most easy baby thing by comparison for teaching people how to mod. If I can just hand someone who hasn't modded before this shit and just if I could just hand some person who doesn't know how to mod all this and introduce them how to step by step, This could probably help so much. There will be much more slop on the workshop. Who cares? Who cares if there's extra slop on the workshop? It means it'll be easier for me to help folks learn to make stuff they can actually be proud of, and that's the important thing. It means that more people are going to be able to take that step and try and fail and decide if they want to try and fail more. Because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. This device is what motivated me to actually start my EU5. So this is the thing that you mentioned. You mentioned earlier that you saw this tool and you decided, yeah, all right, thanks to this, yeah, I'm gonna try. That's respectable. And I truly hope that works out for you. This is good for modding, sure, but the fact that the devs made this infrastructure means they plan on making stuff that changes a lot of stuff in the game, and this will make it easier for them too. This is also true. Everything is so modular, very easy to just all the fact that the game can check for these things. I'm very curious how this will work. You know, if you're adding custom, like if I add a new religion, because you know I'm modding a religious group, will I be like, how easy will it be for me to just click to change and select from the list? Manually coding provinces was really hard in Hearts of Iron 4. Yeah, Hearts of Iron has so many provinces. This is no different. Yeah, same with Vic. Vic is ridiculous. Which is the whole project. Age of Heroes 3. Main editing screen from which everything is accessible. It is split into 3 main views. On the left, we have our dynamically generated and user customizable UI. In the center, we have our interactive map with quick slots for map modes. And finally, on the right edge, we have a dynamic element which will become visible for specialized editors and views depending on the context. Browse provinces log, no location and market saving window. But file exporter. Graph viewer. What kind of graph? Color picker. Color picker is nice. The color picker is nice. I must say, I appreciate the color picker. Point the limits performance. One of the devs already said he wanted to do deforestation at release, but performance didn't allow it. Jesus. Yeah. I'm saying Jesus all the time today. I have to actually get my hands on this to really get excited. That's true. That's true. As for someone like me, I've been working on, I mean, right now at the bottom of my screen in GIMP, I've got my my map for my mod open up. I've just been working on that a lot lately. Yeah, I have been cooking more. So seeing something like this that would help with that is hard to not be excited about for me. All right. In our example scenario, we want to change the color the arid climate has on the map. So we open our Keister and search for arid in the top suggestion. Arid map climate. Showing the exact, also the fuzzy search result for arid. Yeah. Keister closes and the arid climate is loaded into the UI. Yeah. We can simply click on the color picker for icon for its color properly and select a new color. Like this brighter red. Sheesh. The arid climate loaded into the NUI with the color picker for the color opened. Now the map modes and all required data are immediately in the background. Now if only they could show us a bit about how provinces work. How province mapping works. Yeah. Arid. That's showing arid. They just haven't shown any province information other than this, which shows vaguely the province map. I doubt the format for coding will be that different from Vicky and CK though. Yeah, Nero. A little over engineering, yeah. Yeah, I'll have to join that community for sure. All right. My throat is getting really sore at this point. I've been talking too much, and that's a problem because I'm supposed to be reading a story for my girlfriend when I'm done this. So I should probably wrap this up soon. It's the file analyzer. Uh, lots. They've got a lot of stuff in here relating to like what Scanderbeg basically did. Yeah. Save game manager. Yeah. Oh. Oh, that actually will be really nice. Save game editor. Search for countries and stuff, make adjustments. Huh. You see all sorts of information there. That is crazy. Oh, you ever been stuck in a 13-year regency or been in a multiplayer campaign where there's two random South American native players in a Speed 1 player war? With EU5 Minesweeper, you'll never have to be bored again. Holy shit. Minesweeper just baked into the game. Hell yeah. Hey, Lex, in regards to the players who cheat and make content on YouTube, uh, I don't think, yeah, I'm not the only one, I imagine, who doesn't mind when they cheat. I just want them to be open about the fact that there's someone who does that. Yeah. As long as people know what they're getting into, that's not a bad thing. 3 difficulty levels. Alright. With a look into what's cooking for EU5 mods concluded, I'd like to stress as a community manager that modding is one of our top priorities. The modding community has always been a key pillar for our games, and this remains unchanged. With EU5, to me, support for modding is not a list of tasks that need completion, but rather a continuous effort that goes far beyond our post-release phase. So we're in it for the long haul with this one. We hope that this first peek into EU5 modding has inspired some of you to begin your modding journey, whether that's as an author or a player. That's all for today's Tinto Talks, and next week, associate producer Dargenths will host our traditional look at game achievements. Yes. All right. I really need to end this here, though. I do not have the time to look through those comments because this stream has been a very, very long one, and I am hungry and have a story to be reading. So, I'll thank you all for watching. This has been a most excellent, informative, and fun stream in general. It is a pleasure as always. So, thank you all for watching, and hope to see you next time. Bye-bye! Bye.